Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I'm doing pretty good. Hope everyone's well. If you need something, let me know in the comment and chat. That's what we're here for, is to help you with your day. Oh, I have an interesting show today. Looks like one of them is going to make me mad. You know that one yesterday with our uh, moon shadow? That must have affected me even more than I thought. I was mad. I know I was mad, but I had a dream about it last night. It's still on my mind. I woke up this morning thinking about it. I think I'm gonna PM her. I'm gonna PM her and let her know that she did good by dropping her friends, probably her so-called friends. 'Cause friends don't treat you like that. Friends accept you. Friends accept you as you are, unless you're a horrible person. And she's not. I mean, just because she has an unusual name doesn't make her a horrible person. Thought I left a door open, but I didn't. So what's up? We don't have an opening segment today because I don't watch reality TV in the evening, only during the morning. So I did watch the next Balin this morning. It's kind of a kind of just meh, nothing exciting. So it should be pretty short um, little segment. What else? How about that? I can't even pronounce it. The diarrhea disease, cyclosporosis. Um, there's like over 500 cases in the county my husband works in. 45, found in 45 states, and the FDA says the food supply is safe. Yeah, right. Uh-huh, sure. Sure it is. There's 3,000 cases and over 500 are in Genesee County, which is not my county, but it's the county I do all my stuff in. How can you have this disease in 45 states and say the food supply is safe? That's ridiculous. That's almost every state. It's also in the District of Columbia and New York City, but apparently not New York. The only states not reporting cases are Montana, Hawaii, New Mexico, South Carolina, and Maine. That's crazy talk. That's insanity, man. That's insanity. Insanity. Oh, I'm afraid to eat food that I have already. Food supply is definitely not safe if that many people, that many states have cases. And there's 500 just in the next county. Not the one I can see from my back door. Other than the Tri-County area, like specifically in the Tri-County area. I live in the corner-ish of the Tri-County area. So anyway, anybody sick? Are you on here because you're sick with cyclosporosis? I hope not. I hope not. I want everybody to be well. Oh, I don't have a lot of other stuff. I told you I heard from a friend because basically because Trumple's Thin Skin was in town and she wanted to know if I watched it. And I'm like, no, I had the kids. I had the kids that day. I don't watch that. Not exposing them to him. My son would have my head if I did that. Um, Still getting calls about my son's my son's marriage, my youngest son's marriage. They're like, everybody's like, "Were you mad?" Like, why would I be mad? I'm not mad. I'm just a little disappointed when weren't invited. Uh, so anyway, I just got a text back from someone I was texting with. Um, I should probably text her back, actually. I can do that from here, believe it or not. Can't spell again. Trying to arrange a get together. So anyway, our first Reddit read is from Petty Revenge. It is entitled X kept strolling through my phone. It says trough my phone. X kept strolling trough my phone. It's through. Pretty sure they meant through. Through my phone, so I decided to traumatize him with my search history. This is not safe for work, so if you got little ones or if you're at work, you might want to either skip it, turn it down, do something. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Whatever you do for that, you do you. We'll be fine. My ex was very paranoid and insecure. This is very immature and stupid, unless you have given somebody a reason to be, to reason not to trust you. They should trust you. If you're going to date somebody, you should trust them, unless they give you a reason not to, and then you probably shouldn't be with them at all. He was in constant worry that I was cheating on him. I was most definitely not cheating. Caught him once scrolling through my phone at 2 a.m. looking for suspicious texts or dating apps. Going through my she said trough again. I already troughed my history. He didn't find anything. The light from my phone would wake me up and would annoy me because I'm a light sleeper, and it would also take me ages to fall asleep. Can relate. Can relate, girl. He did not know he woke me up by accident. I would pretend I'm sleeping because I'm not in the mood to argue at 2 a.m. Yeah, that's fair. After one more night of me being woken up, I went to various porn sites before bedtime, searched for the most extreme, obscure porns I could think of. Think slave role play, diaper fetishes, needles through breastal areas, girls and inflated dolphins, etc. I'm going through all of it. I let it. I left it all on my phone. I didn't delete my search history and left my phone by the pillow. I was awoken around 2 a.m. His he, he dropped my phone on his face while scrolling. He never touched my phone again. Yes, I did break up with him. Good. Humping inflated dolphins, can I can still explore this earth. Rule 34. What's rule 34? I don't know what rule 34 or 35 is. Do we know what that means? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means? Let me know, because I need to know now. Felix said it has an ex like this. He loved to go through my phone while I was sleeping and wake me up screaming when he thought he found something. He never did. It was so bad that at one point I had to save my own brother under a female name because anytime I was making plans to hang out with him, my ex would scream at me about how I'm planning meetups and cheating on him right in front of his face. Like, come on, like, come the wang on, dude. Learn my brother's name or shut it. STFU. Andrew Shalfor says, I mean, at that point, you could have been easier just to change it to name and then put brother in parentheses. Not that you should have to do that, but since you're changing it, Different Cheek says, could have changed it to name, uh, parentheses, brother, you dumb MF. Yeah, that one for sure. Plot twist. Somebody's the second top rate comment. They say plot twist he proposed. Opie says, nah, I knew that when he sees the one with the old dude pouring raw eggs. And it describes a very icky scenario. Would be the one that breaks us up. Uh, Everyone wants to know about the inflatable dolphins. It's so weird. People are weird. Next is Am I Overreacting? It is entitled AIO. Someone left their laundry in the dryer and I waited 30 minutes before moving it. Received a note in return. And it says, I'll show you. I'll show you. I will also read it for those I'm not showing. Do not touch other people's clothes, especially not after they're freshly washed, regardless of how long they've been in there. Loads of laundry consist of undergarments, and I'm sure you wouldn't want strangers messing with yours. No, thank you. Don't leave them in there for prolonged period. So she wrote a message. Good evening. We were doing laundry today, and there were no dryers available. However, both dryers were finished. We waited 30 minutes before taking out our laundry and putting it inside the laundry basket, as we needed our clothes dried. When we came back down for our laundry, we found this note. Is there a possibility you could talk with these residents about being respectful of the shared laundry space? Thank you. I assume they texted the landlord. Caption is, I went down to put my laundry in the washer and saw someone had used both dryers. There's only two. I saw it had only 30 minutes left, so I was like, okay, cool. My wash will take 36 minutes and it should be done. My washer was done. I went to get the clothes and theirs was still in the dryer. I waited for 30 minutes before moving one of the dryers to a laundry basket that was in the room. The table had dust all over it, so I didn't want to put it there. Came down after my dryer was done to find this note. I emailed the property management as I'm not going back and forth with notes with someone who clearly doesn't understand shared laundry room etiquette. I would not get mad if I was gone for an entire hour and somebody moved my stuff. You have no reason to be mad about that. I just want to make sure I was in the right here if I shouldn't have moved their laundry. No, they should have been. Spite Flimsy is the top rated comment, and they say they should be watching their laundry. When I used a shared space, I wasn't upset if someone moved mine if I left it too long. Exactly. Quidditch says, Quiche says, not only was I never upset, I actually felt bad that they had to do that because nobody wants to touch your laundry. The nerve of some people is hilarious. We're going to continue reading because there's a big one coming up. By any other name says, once I completely forgot mine, ADHD. Can relate. I mean, it happens. And when I finally remembered, some angel had neatly folded all my clothing. A little weird, but I was going through a rough patch and it helped me. Oh, that's so nice. And still we rise, said an unexpected kindness. Designer Feeling also answers, I briefly lived with a boyfriend in an apartment that had common washers and dryers. Someone else had their stuff in the dryer and I needed it. There was no bag or basket nearby, so I just folded all of it neatly and placed it on top of the dryer so I could put my stuff in. My boyfriend at the time freaked out. He said it was wildly inappropriate to touch someone else's laundry and claimed I must be having an affair with that person. Honestly, I've never met the person whose laundry it was, but I was working at the time as a maid for a lot of upper class middle people who actually expected me to do their laundry, so I thought I was just being nice and tidy. I guess everything depends on perspective. And Yank Devil answers, so you did someone a solid, got your laundry done, and discovered you needed to get a new boyfriend in the space of a few hours. Wild. In the space of a few minutes, actually. Because that would have been like instant, like, we're done. We're done. If you're going to freak out like that, we're done. Sad at Brocoma says, Nor, in a shared laundromat, 30 minutes is more than long enough to wait. If you leave your stuff in a shared washers and dryers and don't come back to get it, expect it to be moved. They have timers. Exactly. You know how long your laundry is going to take. I know mine says 55, 57 minutes. My dryer takes 57 minutes. The washer isn't timed because it depends on how much is in there as to how long it takes. It's very well timed to itself. But the dryer, if I'm doing a normal load dryer, it takes 57 minutes. I don't know how it gets it done. It doesn't matter how much is in there. I think one time I've had to redo it. I've had to reset it and dry some more. Arizona Lake answers, agreed, LP is doing great. I would leave a note back. Ain't nobody want to touch your undergarments. Please remove your items promptly next time. It made me really uncomfortable that you forced me to touch your undergarments. Don't violate my boundaries again, thanks. Sprigato, and this is inappropriate. Or you could go the other way. I took your clothes out after I saw a man sniff them and put them back. You might want to wash them again or count them. Just lie. Just make up the most wildest lie you can. Maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't. No form is the third top rate comment, and they say, you did good on letting management know. We also had to do this before and messaged the landlord on it, and it resolved after a few times. Nor. Commercial Bird said, same. I gave 10 minutes, but just because you have time doesn't mean I'm waiting hours. We all have phones with timers. It's not that hard. Exactly. And if I screwed up and I didn't get there in time, you can take my laundry out. I'm not going to ding you for it. I did live in a place where the neighbors, and I know exactly who they were, left their laundry in the dryer all the freaking time. It got to be ridiculous. I think I stole a pair of socks once, just on principle. Like, you can't take your things out. You don't deserve your things. They didn't even fit me. Wasn't anything that would even fit me. I just took it because I was mad. I was fed up. Next, we have entitled people, and it is entitled, "Oh, I'm actually volunteer. I don't have to help." Up. Oh, this is an update. Okay, let's go see if we can find the original. My goodness, they post a lot. They post a lot. Oh, this is comments. What am I doing? They comment a lot. Okay, so. Nope. Okay, never mind. Okay. Okay, I found it finally. For the last 2 years, two friends and I have been volunteering for an event near us that raises money for a local club. We are not members, but a friend of ours is, and the organization didn't have enough members to manage everything, so we volunteered. That's nice. It's actually a pretty good local cause, although not local for us. It's for a town about an hour away. Members are required to do so many hours of volunteer work for the organization annually. And at this event, one of their other events. Our job one year was taking tickets and handing out the goodie bags to the public. It was actually kind of fun. That would be fun. The next year was babysitting a tent where alcohol is served to make sure no one leaves the area with alcoholic drinks. Not quite as fun, but acceptable. We took the early shift starting at 7:30 a.m., understanding we would be relieved at noon and then could enjoy the event. We didn't get back bathroom breaks. We asked, but were told we had to get someone to take our place, and no one ever showed. We were standing in the doorways of a huge tented pavilion in 85-degree heat and never given water, and we were discouraged from getting it ourselves since it would mean leaving the entrance unattended. There was also we were also one per entrance, so we didn't even get to talk to each other. Could only text during long periods when we were just standing there. That sounds terrible, to be honest. At some point, I was told off for checking a message on my phone. I was 44 years old, and I told the person that they couldn't tell me what I could look at on my phone. I was told I was going to be reported. This person held out their hand and told me to give them the phone, and I would get it back when I was done for the day. I just said no, thank you, and put it in my pocket. Yeah, no kidding. I'm not a 12-year-old. You're not taking my phone. And you're there, like, this isn't that kind of activity that people need to take other people's phones. It's not work. It's not school. No. I didn't respond further because my mother was long deceased. So who were they going to report my naughtiness to? I haven't been told off that way since I was 12-year-old getting in trouble for not paying attention during class. I'm not a child, and that person was not my teacher or boss. I'm not handing off my expensive phone to a stranger to hold on to until I was done. You don't even know who that person is. How do I know? Do I know you? Do I know you? Not giving you my phone, stranger. Noon rolled around and we were told we couldn't leave yet because our replacements weren't there. One of us got relieved at around 12:15, so we took turns relieving the other one to use the bathroom and get water. At 12:30, I finally got tired of waiting and went to tell one of the organizers that we were leaving in 5 minutes and they needed to replace us. At first, they told us no, we would needed to wait till more volunteers showed up and they might need us there for a while. And I said, absolutely not. We had stood at the entrances for over 5 hours in climbing heat with no water, no chances to use the bathroom. We were not allowed to sit because it didn't look right. Oh my God, I hate that. Dear. Baby deer. Second baby deer. They're so cute when they're little. Um, at 12:30, I finally got tired of waiting and went to tell the couldn't sit down. Where did that go? I'm only in my 40s, but I'm not willing to stand with no relief for hours on end. Even when you're working, you get a break every couple hours. There should have been somebody relieving them to go use the bathroom. At least 15 minutes every 2 hours. Even in my state, you after 4 hours, you get a lunch break. It's ridiculous. They found people but told us they were disappointed we couldn't stay until the end, which could have been after 9 that night. I told them we never signed up for that long, and I was told that our leaving early would be noted. Okay, note away. So this year rolls around, and I just got the email for this year's assignment. I wrote and explained that I didn't sign up and I had other plans for that weekend. I don't, but I'm never doing it again. Don't blame you. I got an email back telling me it was non-negotiable. I had not volunteered at all this year, uh, and that this year I needed to be more of a team player. They brought up my infractions from last year, which included looking at my phone around the public and leaving early. They also pointed out that I wasn't respectful to the leadership of the organization when I was corrected about the phone because I said I would keep my phone on me and would continue to check in with my friends when I wasn't busy. I was told it wasn't appropriate and wouldn't be tolerated this year. It took me an hour to just let that soak in. Who are these people? Oh my goodness. Some people just have so much the illusion of so much power when they're in an organization like this. Like I've been in like organizations where I've been part of the board and I would never, I would never tell somebody that they had to give me their phone. A number one, never. I mean, we had little kids around, like people were saying inappropriate things, and we would never even say anything to them. I talk about behind their back a little bit because It's extremely inappropriate to say stuff in front of little kids. But that person was never, like, reprimanded in any way, shape, or form because we were all adults and you can behave yourself or not. We did manage to get that person out of the club, but because we split it up. We made sure we split it because well, she went to the other chapter, then we didn't have to put up with her again. But that's how you do that. You don't reprimand them. You find other ways to deal with your crap when you're an adult. I wrote back with the explaining with excruciating politeness that I was a member and had never been a member. I also elaborated that I was not even a person who lived in their community to benefit from the event, but that I traveled to come and help because I thought it was a good cause. Apparently, no one connected us to the friend who recruited us and left her. I left her out of this. Good. That's good. That's fair. You should, because your friend doesn't need that kind of crap. When I outlined what went wrong last year, that as a 44-year-old, I was not going to be told off for briefly checking a message from one of my friends asking if I needed water since I wasn't allowed to leave, that we signed up from 7 a.m. to noon and were told that we were supposed to stay until 9 p.m., and then heavily guilted when we firmly said no. I further explained that as an unpaid volunteer, I was treated very disrespectfully by leadership and was not planning to support the organization with my time going forward, so please remove me from the list. I got an email back, not quite apologizing and saying that everything had been misunderstood because members understood they might be asked to stay late, and everyone assumed my friends and I were members. Even if you're a member, absolutely not. Am I going to be there for 14 freaking hours? No, absolutely not. Not in this lifetime, not ever. I'm not going to be around 14 hours. Sorry. I barely did that for jobs. I was also reminded that it was club policy not to have our phones with us during club events. I'm not a member of your club. I don't know. The email went on to state that that they already had my jobs assigned for August, and it was important that I was there on time because otherwise I would be putting them in a hard spot. You never asked me. You do not get to voluntold me. You're not gonna volunteer me to show up for something that I've already had a bad experience with and I'm not happy with, and you're not happy with me. You're just gonna mistreat me even more. No, absolutely not. I wrote back and said that the rule about phones would not apply to me since I was not a member and had never been told club rules and would not follow that one if when I was in a situation they put me in. Further, I did not want the club to suffer from any misunderstanding because if I volunteer, I would leave the time I agreed to because I would not stay even extra 5 minutes this time and I don't want to have issues for the club due to that. I added the other two people I volunteered with were joining me in my plans that weekend and would not be able to help either. I signed off and hoped everything went well, but that going forward, if there were unplanned volunteers that were not required to spend the day working for free, they should not treat them the way they treated us. I haven't heard back. I'm not surprised. Oh my goodness. Shaz in California says, at an event we volunteered at, we were handed buttons that said, you can't yell at me, I'm a volunteer. I've also been known to tell people to make ridiculous demands like, give me your phone. Then I checked with my mother and she said it was okay. Please note that I've been saying this since I was in my 40s and I'm now 73. Opie says I'm going to remember that. I'm going to use it often. Dusty Diamond answered, I would have immediately told the person who asked for my phone to wait right there while I go to the loo and grab some water and walk off. After that, I would have gone and let my friends do the same. If someone can come to chastise me, uh, they can hang around while I take a quick break. Let her let her ask why I was gone for so long. I happily tell her I stood at my friend's post while they did the same. How can you expect people to stand for 5 hours without getting a break? They weren't allowed to sit either because it didn't look good. uh, Zorbnak Nylon says, I'm 63 and applaud your restraint. I would have walked away from my post the moment I was denied a bathroom break. But a grown adult excuse me, a grown adult human reaching their hand to confiscate my phone for the crime of checking my text, that fool would have been lucky to have a hand. And for what? Babysitting grown-ups who can't understand that the booze tent with alcohol, that leaving the booze tent with alcohol was prohibited. Who would have been actual member of the organization? I have no more F's to give, and it is glorious. Glad you have joined me on the dark side. OP answers, it's a surprisingly good organization that does a lot of good for that small community. The attendants at the entrances to the alcohol pavilion were required by liquor laws. I didn't want to do something that could damage the event, so I just took everything in stride. Mick said, the scheduler and the organizers need classes in basic human management. They might be the greatest things for prevention of starvation, and I would have told them where to stuff it had I been treated like that. You're truly a great person to put up with it. Agreed. Swiss Mountain Dog is the third top rated comment. They say, I would have simply replied with the middle finger and not wasting time to go into details for people who don't appreciate what volunteer meant before they treated you like entry level employees. You're a better person than me, explaining that to them. Hustle Beauty says, you're a volunteer, not property. 5 hours and 85 degrees with no water or bathroom and phone demand, you left at the right time. Sparkle Magic says, I would have left when they asked me to hand over my phone. Exactly. Jamie Scroll says, I would have asked what the hell they meant by when my refusal was noted. Why were they treating volunteers this way? The person ticking you off could have relieved you for the time to use the toilet, and now that would be how you treat a volunteer. I would have made sure volunteers had a break every 2 hours, at least. Shade water toilet breaks is bare minimum. A tall chair is even better, and it does look professional. Exactly. Having them stand for hours on end, that's crazy. Next one, Murder by Words, and is entitled Breland, this is what you get when you order Charlie Kirk from Temu. Braylon Hollyhand says, we loathe Obama like you loathe Trump. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Except we loathe Obama because he loathed America. No, he didn't. You loathe Trump because you loathe America. No, we don't. We loathe you. Qasim Rashad says, you're 18, meaning you were a baby during Obama's first term and in second grade when he left office. You loathing Obama is proof of white supremacy is taught at young age. All you've done is confess your parents raised you racist. Good job. Tony says, nothing like indoctrination. 700 says, oh, no doubt, racism has to be taught. And it can be unlearned also. Ella Kraut says, I can confirm I have 4 mixed race kids doing my part to doing the great replacement, I guess. Yes, my kids recognize racial differences almost right away as very young children, like anyone who has functioning eyeballs. But they were indifferent to those differences. They literally did not care and treated everyone the same, outside of an occasional innocent "Mom, she looks like you" comment. That's not racism. That's just observation. They weren't aware it could be a source of hate until certain people at school started treating them differently. It started as young as 3rd grade, but it was still relatively harmless then. It was more like accidental racism, which teachers intervened to help raise self-awareness to the offenders. The worst of it seems to have happened in middle school. Middle school sucks. Middle school is the worst. Where it's just straight up hate at that point and clearly coming from crap they see and hear in their home, and they decide to try it out at school. I'll never forget the day I got a letter from the school about my son serving a detention for basically stomping a kid's nutsack against the cafeteria bench. Kid probably deserved it. What started as a WTF conversation with him transitioned quickly into something else entirely when I found out that what the other kid said to him. And the things the other kid had been saying to him repeatedly for a month. The other kid got suspended, so the school clearly decided hate speech was the worst offense. Wasn't that kid's first offense either, so that didn't help. Yeah, my kid got in trouble one time. One of my kids got in trouble one time for fighting at school. He was defending himself. He was defending himself against older kids. He got in trouble for not stopping after one kick. Like, well, did the other kid stop after one kick? I don't think so. They had him on the ground kicking him. Can't figure crap out. Says I'm genuinely curious. What does Obama look? In what way did Obama loathe America? Uh, Rand Coffin says he had the audacity to outperform Pedo 47 in both of his elections, while the Orange Goon has to lie about winning landslides. Maleficent Extent says, and crowd sizes, he's still upset about the inauguration crowd size. Yeah, he is. Druid Mind says tragedy, r/tragedy, which is the subject for tragic namings. I don't remember Eden says such an accidentally progressive tragedy though. Were it not for the profile pic, I wouldn't even been able to hazard a guess at Breland's gender. Breland was a guy, by the way. Breland Hollyhan is just not a real person's name. It sounds like a rejected name for one of the farmers outside Windhelm in Skyrim. Like you shouldn't be offering me loose change to pick your crops. Oh, I really need to get back into gaming. I haven't done it in a long time. Next we have Bryce Canyon National Park 1-star review entitled Very Disappointing from Ivy. Such a letdown. We paid $35 to enter the park and soon found out it was 2 miles down the road was closed. We looked on the map and made our way to Bryce Point, where we were met by police and park rangers who had closed the road as parking was full. So why did you keep going if it was closed? Ranger said it will reopen in approximately an hour's time. We turned around and went to Sunset Point, and the same thing happened there. I appreciate it's the Christmas holidays, so there will be more people around, but why carry on letting visitors in if there's nowhere for them to park? This was incredibly frustrating. After an hour circling parking lots, we're still shut, and we left the park very disappointed. On leaving, we were surprised to see cars still entering at this point. I don't know enough about this national park to know if they have other places you could park. Pretty sure they have a shuttle, though. Almost positive they have some kind of shuttle. I've seen people complaining about the shuttle, so yeah. Next, we have Traumatized and Back. Don't send me an unsolicited picture of your peeper unless you want me to. Show me this. There's not a picture, okay? There's not a picture of a peeper. Picture of his peeper. Wow, it was weird you messaged me today of all days. I was just looking at your profile the other day. Nice. Did you like what you saw? I can send you more. I was a little shocked, to be honest. Why? Well, this is going to sound crazy, but my dad, whom I've never met, well, it's just his name is also Butch. I don't know his last name, but I know he lives in Pueblo. Or at least he did. I'm guessing at Pueblo, obviously. And when I saw your friend request and where you live, my heart dropped. And he asked how old she is. Okay, who's your mom? I want to answer, but for closure, but mom asked me never to reach out to you, so let's take this slow and find out if it's your first or not. I do have a picture of my dad as a younger man. Show it to me. I keep it in a locket around my neck to keep him close. And the answer is Jesus, that's my senior picture. Erase the picture I sent you to the picture I sent, delete. Winging hell. Here's your mom, Tiffany Brandy. I can't believe this is really happening. God has blessed us in this moment. I wish you hadn't sent me a picture of your peeper dad. Jesus, hell, I didn't know. I said delete it. Who's your mom? Where do you live? Delete the picture. Don't let your mom. Don't tell your mom this is okay. Oh, that's so funny. This is how you handle it, girls. Do that. Timmel says, I was about to comment saying that this had been stolen from Let's Not Date when I actually looked at the username and love your work. OP says, uh, thank you for looking out for me. Trollfester says, I never heard of you before, but wow, you have a new fan. Please keep up the good work. Looking forward to reading your past efforts and following you for your new stuff. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Look up Let's Not Date. That's all you have to do is look up Let's Not Date. Um, Eric the Hot, Eric Hot Hottie says, the poorly edited photo on the locket sent me. OP says, editing is not my strong ability, but never matters. Uh, Minnie Laura says, how did you get his photo? Was it really a photo of him? OP says he had his family tagged on his profile. Just my luck that one had tagged him in old pictures. Oh my goodness, it's so funny. This made my week. Chef's kiss. I love it. Chronic Dream says revenge is a dish best served cold, ice cold, and with a little bit of Photoshop. Skeptical Pirate says some masters work in oils, other artists take their chisels to marble. Others raise beauty from mounds of humble earth and rely on nothing but the heat to preserve their glory. You, my friend, have found your medium. Cezanne was known for his black outlines of delineation, Rembrandt for reflecting the shadowy dichotomy of the human condition. Da Vinci was the master of transforming geometry into soft, enigmatic beauty. But you have transcended them all. You just made a man crap his pants midway, whilst also wondering if he needs to pony up for unpaid child support and make him rethink his entire life. Please ascend to your throne, and by all means, do not keep us from your all important task of saving the world, one smegmaster at a time. Moon Hollow answers, this comment is waking arms. Yes, it is. And you, sir, have also transcended all of the great writers in the world. Next is What Should I Do? And it's entitled, I paid my landlord rent, but he wants more because I'm leaving. The landlord says, say goodbye. And they say, hey, just letting you know I'm here. Pizza's done, bud. You can send rent when you get a chance. Bud, thanks. You need to send me money, dude. I'm a wildland firefighter. And I'm staying at a place that charges $900 a month. The average around here is $600. Last year it was $700. He increased it by $200 when I got here this fire season. I paid him first month's rent and I told him I found a new place for $500 a month and I'm leaving. He exploded at me and said, well, how am I supposed to rent out that room now? I said, I'm not sure. He is asking me now for another $900, not just first, which I paid, but last month's rent too. I'm not sure what to do. The other firefighter said because he doesn't have a contract with me, it means he's doing this under the table and basically using me to pay his property tax between me and the other guy. The other guy who's rooming with me is also leaving because of the price. Should I pay him? I haven't even stayed a full month. No, I shouldn't pay him. I took out all my stuff in case because he was full face red when I was talked about. What should I do? Aradka says no contract, no obligation. He can wing right off, and you could theoretically just leave and ghost with no contract. PME though says if you leave a ghost, I think the ghost should probably sign the contract though. In all fairness, Arakis answers, I don't know. The one in my basement claims squatters' rights, and I'm not an expert in ephemeral housing law. It's Lucy says, don't pay him. You paid in advance for how long you needed to be there. And as mentioned, there's no contract. You are not obligated to do anything, and he can't do anything otherwise. Exactly. OP says it was the sudden increase in rent that got me. I'm paying its property tax and mortgage. I do kind of feel bad that I'm leaving, but wing it. Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. It's a business. It's a business deal. You should never feel bad about a business deal gone wrong. unless you're the one doing the wrong. Pizza Bear says you didn't feel bad for raising your rent. You shouldn't feel bad for finding something better. Exactly. Exactly. Uh, Chang Yu Bug says, does he always end his text with bud? This guy sounds like a douche. Don't pay him crap. No contract. LOL. Uh, Frosty Corgi says, I'm wondering what the story is on the pizza bud. Fit Employment says he's not your bud friend. He's not your friend, pal. He's not your pal guy. He's not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, dude. He's not your dude, bruv. He's not your bruv, mate. He's not your mate champ. He's not your champ sport. Oh, sometimes you find Reddit comments better than the actual uh, post. Malicious compliance, entitled "Boss chastised me for late lunch during a mission critical outage, so I clocked out when the whole network went down." Uh, Small business. This is my first IT job. I have decades of blue collar experience. This is the first IT person in the company ever hired. My associates in IT specializing in networking, only a few gen ed classes away. My boss kept the platter spinning, but he has no formal training or amateur desire. He wants to offload the tediousness. I wonder if I know this guy. I'm in the boss, not him, not the poster. 3 days prior, I was trying to get a mission critical computer up and running again. The only computer with the shipping software and hundreds of packages waiting to be shipped. I advised the immediate re-image, delete everything, and reset known to good serve. I had on deck for just such an occasion, but I was overridden by the owner who wanted me to keep Windows in C2 and delete slash reinstall programs piecemeal and deal with the phone support for those programs because he paid extra for tech support. His call, I follow orders. I was on the phone for hours and did not leave my post until the job was done. That meant I took lunch half an hour later. No big deal for me, but when I clocked back in, I got back to my desk. The boss was standing there fuming because I took lunch outside of normal hours. He insisted I must take 30 minutes lunch from 12 to 1 as per company policy. Dummies. So today the whole network goes down at 12:25 and I had not yet taken lunch. Nothing can ping anything. My own personal hunches tell me this was because of a factory building. There are a lot of high voltage woodworking machines, but for factory production level of output, and all of the Ethernet cables are unshielded. Just my hunch. But I really can't do a damn thing because my company rents out office space as a subletter, so we are not allowed to access the switches and routers. I have no admin access to the infrastructure. So I set up a Wireshark to record and a continuous command line ping and go to lunch. Boss is standing at my desk when I get back today. He gives me a passive aggressive. The network is up, by the way, but refuses to call me out further. I had the I told you so on deck, though. At least your boss recognizes that he cannot say anything because he already reamed you out for doing something else. Ninja hiding in the open says the secret instruction is if things are going wrong, you don't get lunch. He just can't say that because it's illegal. Right. Opie says it was more willing to keep up appearances, but if I'm going to get dressed down for doing what I thought was expected, sounds like a crappy abusive relationship I don't want to get tied down to. Exactly. Uh, Psyop Bunny Hop says, I hope you're looking for work elsewhere. This place will just drain you and burn you out. Exactly. Tell Brian I said hi. Tuff says, welcome to the joy of IT. If things work, what does IT actually do? When things don't work, what does IT actually do? Well, if IT would actually do something when things don't work, it would be better. Next, I have Ever Buildings, and this is a bunker for supervillains who want to stay firmly grounded. This is neat looking, actually. That is very, very cool. I actually kind of like it. It would be cool in the summer and warm in the winter because you got that thermal heating and cooling going on. That is neato cool. I'm sorry. And it's right by the ocean or some kind of water. That's cool as heck. Oh, I guess we're going to do a real estate section here. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't like those stairs. I do not like the stairs. Those have to go. I will fall through them because I have no coordination whatsoever. That's all they have. If there is more, I will find out. Frustrated PC Build says, I love this. Z2 says, am I evil for loving this? And he says, no, it's just a cool house. Definitely not a bunker when half the floor plan is outside, right? Possible Wallaby says, disagree. This seems like a nice way to preserve the natural beauty of the landscape and have a nice house. Also not so useful as a bunker. It seems like it's Greece or Crete. It's in Greece. It's on Seraphos Island. I want to go. I want to move to Greece now. Franken Geek says, this doesn't look evil at all. One of those death trap floating stairs. Never mind. Beef says, I can't help but feel like if I stepped on the very end, they'd wobble like a diving board. Wolfwood's sister says, or if your feet / shoes slip forward, your leg would go through the stair opening. If you fall backward, hit your head on the stairs below, possibly ram your foot upward and break your toes. God knows what happened when you're untrapped, now crumpled leg. Possibly slide down the stairs on your shoulders, not sure how far. Also, possibly hitting the back of your head on each stair on the way to the floor. See? She's got it. She knows. She knows what it is, what it's all about. Next time, AITAH, entitled AITAH for telling my guests it's better that they don't come to the wedding after they complained about our wedding too much. Yes, you're being a jerk. You're clearly being a jerk. We're getting married in less than 2 months. Our RSVP deadline was a month ago, and everyone responded to the RSVP but one couple. We really had to hound them to get any kind of answer from them. Yesterday, they sent us a message telling us they are free to come, but alongside the reply, they sent a long message about how cumbersome and expensive it is to attend our wedding and how tiring the weekend for them will be, and how they probably will retreat to their hotel room for most of the day and stay for the ceremony and part of the dinner, but retreat to their room for the rest of the festivities. Why are you telling people this? Who cares? Go to the wedding, go to the part of the reception, go back to your room. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to notice. We're taking it back because we're paying for everything. Food, drinks, parking. We're also paying for everyone's accommodation at a very nice lakeside hotel. Their basic expense would be to pay for the gas for the 4-hour ride to the wedding and back, and they have a car. So they're complaining about nothing. They complained about the dress code. We have black tie, but they both have own clothes that fit the dress code. So they won't have to buy new ones anyway, but they complained about that too. Weird. We read the message and basically told them if coming would be so tiresome for them, it's better not to come. We said that we aren't mad at all, and if someone can't make it or doesn't feel up to it, there are no hard feelings, but basically uninvited them. I don't know. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but budget-wise, each guest costs us around $600, and I didn't feel like spending $1,200 on people that don't even want to be there. They are not angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we are thinking that maybe we were a bit harsh, or we the a-holes. I mean, everybody sucks here, to be honest, but you shouldn't have uninvited them. You should have just sent them a message just saying that's fine. They didn't need to tell you that their plans were either. They should have just come to the wedding, done what they wanted to do, and gone home or go back to the hotel room. I mean, you are paying for them. for a hotel room for them. They are entitled to use it. Dragon says, "Oh, the ungrateful people planning to use their free hotel room as personal retreat instead of celebrating with you. Laid it on a little too thick and will have to pay for their own weekend getaway. Too bad, so sad." NTA. Exactly. Sarah said, "This is where my mind went. They want a free vacation." I mean, that's okay. Are you really going to notice they're not there? Really? My eye is bothering me now. I don't know why. Maybe it was the hair. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Um, Another classic case of people waiting around and finding out. Their Tweaked Monkey says they're terribly ungrateful and petty. What terrible people they are. One person says this: "I'll vent privately to my hubby, but not to the bride and groom or any host for that matter." How rude. Exactly. Exactly. They didn't need to tell you what their plans were. You didn't have to uninvite them. Professionally Unable says NTA sounds to me like they were fishing for you to pay for the gas costs or something, and now they're mad that it didn't work. The hobby wager says they were hinting that they would not be giving a gift. They thought they were just settling expectations for the B&G bride and groom, so they wouldn't be surprised or disappointed at their no gift received scam. Total a-holes, complete pair of manipulating a-holes. Ada Lucas says the third top right comment, and he says, "NTA, your wedding should be a time of celebration. You got enough to do without having to waste the mental bandwidth on entitled people who complain and whine about utter insignificance. Go, don't go, retreat to your room for a nap, whatever. It's not the happy couple. I'm the happy couple to validate you." Exactly. And if he says, "It's funny, we put in a 2-hour nap break between the midday ceremony and the start of the dinner. Nap time is even official part of our schedule." They used to do that back in the day when people had actual balls and stuff in their houses. Uh, they would put in, if you watch Gone with the Wind, you'll see them taking a nap. The girls all take a nap before the big event. Next, we have Neighbors from Hell, and is entitled "Got Pulled Over for Open Container of Cat Food." I've got this 60-ish-year-old single neighbor lady across the street from me that wants to insert herself into everyone's business 24/7. You know the type. Why? Why do people do that? I'm 60. I don't give a wang what my neighbors do. Matter of fact, I have so many trees right now, I can't even see my neighbors, and that's fine. Why are you so invested in what everyone else is doing? Mind your own beeswax. Come here and we can talk about people online. You don't need to be bothering your neighbors, ma'am. A friend of mine was on vacation for a month, and I volunteered to stop by his house once a day and feed his outside stray cat. You can't actually pet the cat, but it does sleep on his porch and expects food and water. His place is right on my way to work. After a couple of days getting his keys out, going to his house, getting a scoop of cat food out of the bag, and then locking up again, I decided I'd streamline this process. I take the bag of cat food back to my place. In the morning, I scoop a red Solo cup full of food. On my way out the door, I put it in my cup holder. Now I can drive, jump out, reach up onto the porch and dump the cat food cup and check the water, and I'm gone in 60 seconds. Perfect. That sounds reasonable. This works fine for about 2 weeks. One morning, as I'm stepping out of my place, I noticed a sheriff's car parked up the block. I've got nothing to hide or worry about, so I really don't think much of it. I drove past him and turned the corner. Next thing I know, he's behind me, lining me up and pulling me over, I think it's what she meant. The very first thing out of his mouth is, "Hi there, have you had anything to drink this morning?" I'm already gathering my license registration, opening the app to show my proof of insurance because I know the routine. Looking a little surprised, I say, "No." He motioned towards the center console and said, "What do you have in the red Solo cup?" For a second there, I'm thinking, what red Solo cup? Oh, the cat food cup. I pick it up and shake it. Cat food. He looks completely confused by this. I tell him I have to feed my friend's cat on the way to work, and this is the easiest way to do it. Just dump it in the bowl. He kind of chuckles a little bit, takes my license and registration information back to his car, and says, I'll be back in a second. After presumably running all my stuff, he comes back and laughs and says, Ah, yeah, so sorry. We got an anonymous call that you were leaving the house every morning with an alcoholic drink in your hand. Just because you have a red solo cup in your hand does not mean you have an alcoholic drink. For Pete's sake. And what I really want to say is FFS. He apologizes again and gives me his business card in case I have to show the boss why I was late to work. He told me to have a nice day and I went on my way. I just knew this was because of the lady across the street. So the next day I walk out to start my car. I see her standing on her porch doing the looking, but trying to look like she's not looking. I come out of the house with a bag of cat food and look her way and yell, Good morning, neighbor, making sure I was facing her house with a bag of cat food in one hand and the red cup in my other. I made a big exaggerated scoop out of the bag with the cup and hold it in the air. Then I set the cat food down on my down in my front of my door and drive away. And that's how I got pulled over for an open container of cat food. She should be arrested for falsely accusing somebody. False false police report for a false police report. Just because you have a red solo cup does not mean that it has alcohol in it. Ever. Don't assume. Because it makes an ass out of you and me. Mostly you. One dog at a time says, it's a top rated comment. Now you should walk out of the house with the water in the cup when you don't have to feed the cat anymore. Take sips as you get in the car and drive off. Leave 10 minutes early so you're not late to work. Darth Fuzzy says, no, no, no. When we started drinking, we had a designated driver. We had a DD, the designated drunk. Took him 5 minutes to make it to his car, then another 5 minutes to actually find his car, another 5 minutes to get it started and onto the main road. As soon as the cop pulls him over, all the drunks drive home. Or act like you're eating the cat food. Opie said, the look on the cop's face made me think he thought I was actually snacking on cat food on the first. Maple Deb says 100% he definitely had a split second of this dude's really crunching on Meow Mix on his morning commute. Glad he had a sense of humor. And Opie says he did. I had to get the explanation out as quick as I could before he thought it was some kind of cat food eating weirdo. Voxfire says, I'm sure the munchies can hit anywhere with a smiley face thing. And OP says, I'm not sure I've ever been that stoned. Blazer Alumni is the second top rated comment. They say, I wouldn't have bothered to brought the cat food bag out. I would have toasted her every morning with that red solo cup, just so I could make sure she knew I knew it was her. In fact, why didn't you do that and start taking 2 red solo cups to the car with you? The other red solo cup could be your morning non-alcoholic drink of choice just to rub in her face. Honestly, all you had to do is pretend to sip the cat food. Weedy Garden says, I'd be tempted to take the red solo cup out with water in it, toast uh, toast it to her, and then take a drink. For sure. Former inquiry says, I used to have a nosy neighbor that stalked me a lot. So one day I took a empty vodka bottle from work, nightclub I worked at, and rinsed and filled it with water and carried around the nosy neighbor and took swigs from the bottle. Then jumped in my truck and drove around the block several times. Later, an officer came down the street and stopped me. I drank from the bottle and informed him that I was messing with my busybody neighbor and showed him it was water. He chuckled and left. Later, I told the neighbor I paid him off and said my dad's brother's on the city council. I moved a month later and had fun screwing with her. That's excellent. Yeah, you should screw with the busybodies. It's fun. Next, we have Benign Existence and is entitled, My wife isn't big on proofreading her own text and autocorrect isn't helping. I recently received a message saying, get a Otis Serena checking on your way bomb. She was disappointed when I didn't bring home a rotisserie chicken. It wasn't really her fault, but I'm so thankful she's not air traffic controller or pharmacist. Oh, glory. Waffle Curious says, almost a decade ago, I texted my nephew, introduced the hen. Neither of us remember what I actually meant to say, but we get scrambled texts. We respond with introduce the hen. Those are good inside jokes. OP says, I love this. Every time I head out for the store now, I ask my wife if she wants an Otis Serena. This never gets old to me. That is. I bet your wife hates you. uh, 3 Point says, I have a coworker that has a very country accent, and we have banned from using speech to text. She sent us a text once in the winter that said the hot tub ever flood, and now the dick is covered in ass. Her hot tub had overflowed and her deck was covered in ice. This is say we ask about the status of her ass every winter. Somebody else said something about deck pics. Jewel says, no checking. My husband voice texted me he was going to the Scotties. Took a quick call to decipher that he was going to the bakery we like for biscotti. Now we pick up Scotties every so often. That's nice. That's sweet. I like that one. Sad Eb is the third top right comment, and she says, LOL, but also I don't understand how people don't see autocorrect mistakes after they send the message and then not clarify. Um, Blue Volta says, I think some people truly do not read their texts after sending them ever. Yeah, I agree. I always like, we're always correcting our texts in our family. Next is Found Satan, and it's just entitled Found Him. It goes like this. The wife said, if if I ever got Alzheimer's, I would commit suicide rather than burden you with me. I said, that's the fifth time today you said that. Mostly Moment says the pure psychological warfare here is actually insane. Potato is the second top varied comment. They say, well, unless euthanasia is approved for dementia, it's not. Satan's visiting everyone. For naughty things, was an asterisk that says, varies based on location. Potato says, I stand corrected. Almost everywhere except the Netherlands and Belgium. And for naughty things answers Canada, well, as well, so long as you make a decision before your brain is completely gone. I mean, but it should be if you want to go. I mean, even people with Alzheimer's have days of knowing exactly what's going on. Next, we have Just No Mill, and it is entitled, My Mill told me to to my face that she tolerates me for my husband's sake, and now she's confused why I won't visit anymore. Visiting my in-laws last month, sitting in the kitchen while my husband was outside with his dad. Mother-in-law and I were alone. She was being weird all weekend, so I finally asked her if everything was okay between us. She put her coffee down and said, Honey, I tolerate you because I love my son and I chose you. And that's always been enough for me. And then she smiled like she had just given me a compliment. I didn't say anything. Finished my coffee and excused myself. Packed my bag that night and told my husband I needed to leave a day early. I told him what she said on the drive home. He went silent for 20 minutes. He said, She probably didn't mean it like that. Well, then why did she say it like that? I asked him how else there is to mean that sentence, and he didn't have an answer. I've not been back to her house in 5 weeks. She called me twice asking why I'm being distant and saying that she misses our chats. Then why do you miss our chats when you're only just barely tolerating me? Like she didn't tell me to my face that 8 years of marriage to her son has earned my tolerance and nothing else. My husband is in the middle. He says he's on my side, but he also keeps saying she's from a different generation. Like that's a reason. That's not a reason. I'm starting to think the actual problem isn't even her. Why not be? Top rated comment is from Alien Wonderland. Tolerate has tolerate has a specific meaning. If he thinks she didn't understand what it meant, he needs to maybe review the word with his mother. I would respond the same way you did. I wouldn't ever want to be somewhere I'm simply tolerated. Yeah, exactly. Second top rated comments from Fatsy. He didn't answer because he's either an idiot or a mama's boy. And the actual problem isn't her, it's husband. You're doing the right thing. She spoke her truth. She can't unring the bell. All they can do is spin the doctor narrative and gaslight. She doesn't get to say that and then complain about your choice to only be around the kind of people who celebrate, not just tolerate you. Exactly. Charles Dickhand says there's no other way to take that. I wouldn't even say that out loud to a coworker. I'd call her a cunt, but she lacks both the warmth and the depth. Next is Am I the Jerk? And it is entitled AITJ for telling my coworker I won't cover her shifts anymore after finding out why she needs them covered. For the past 4 months, I've been picking up my coworker's shifts pretty regularly. She texted me saying she had family emergency or felt sick, and I always said yes because I felt bad for her. We work at a fairly busy cafe, and I figured she was just going through a rough patch. I even used some of the money I made on steak to build up some savings, which felt good for once. What's steak and how do you make money off of that? Last week, she texted me asking to cover, but I already had plans, so I said no for the first time. Later that day, I was at the mall. I ran into her with a group of friends. Totally fine, laughing, shopping. The same morning, she told me she had a family situation and couldn't make it. And I didn't say anything when I saw her, just kind of processed it. When she texted me the following week asking if I could color, I told her I'm not able to do that anymore. She should sort out her schedule with the actual manager. She got pretty cold with me after that and told me a couple more workers that I let her down. Now, two of them think I'm being petty, and that whatever she does on her day off is her business. Not that she's asking people to cover for her. No, that's not how that works. But like she lied to me multiple times. I was rearranging my whole week thinking she was dealing with something serious. AITJ for just quietly cutting off or covering for her without explaining why. Not really. I mean, she didn't really explain why she needed cover, did she? No, you don't have to cover for people if you don't want to. It doesn't matter the reason. Frequent Local says NTJ, if she was using her actual day off for leisure activities, your coworkers would be right. But she didn't. She used your days off and lied to you to make it happen. Redundant pundit answers, let your coworkers tell your coworkers they can cover her on their days off. They feel so strong about it. Yes, exactly. Unfair Blue Jay says, let them know you're going shopping with her if you can find someone stupid enough to cover your shift. Evening Daily is a second top rated comment. And they say to the people who tell you that whatever she does on her day off is her business, you need to tell them that it wasn't her day off, it was yours. Tell them they can work for her from now on. Exactly. 100%. Executing purpose is the third top rated comment, and they say, you're absolutely right. What she does on her day off is her business. This isn't a day off she's supposed to be working. Somebody in a downrated comment answered, I mean, it seems OP was enjoying the extra savings. If she didn't mind the work, who really cares? I care. She lied to me. She was doing her a favor, and she was being lied to. In this economy and job market, take the extra shifts and the extra money and forget the principle of it. No. Again, if you actually enjoyed making the extra money and didn't mind the extra work, sure, I'd be a bit miffed, but at most would not feel bad about saying no more often. But I also keep picking up shifts when it would suit me for my savings. A coworker doesn't like monies, but my bills do. Lonely Wreck, sorry, says, well, the person probably does this exact thing to their coworkers. Exactly. Imaginary Fox is the second top rated comment, and they say, I used to have a coworker that pulled the same thing on me. Once I said no, my boss called me into his office to let me know that I shouldn't have said no. I explained how every week he took one of my days off and I need them to visit my parents in two different nursing homes. He had no idea how many times the coworker did that to me. My boss apologized to me and had a talking to my coworker. It never happened again. Salary Straight says, NTJ, you said no. Why should it be a problem? She could ask somebody else, and you don't owe her any explanation. She asked a question, you answer. Tell the coworkers they are giving you a hard time to pick up their shifts. They need to mind their own business. Exactly. You don't have to have a reason to say no to somebody. is asking you to work on your day off. Also, why are they asking you, and why is the manager not supervising that? You shouldn't have to find coverage for your own shifts. That's a manager's job. Just saying that. Signs, we have signs of the story that has an emoji for uh, an emoji instead of a title. It says, "Remember how your valet looks because we don't have one." Yikes. And the emoji does kind of look like a yikes. Dapper contest is the first time for a comment. Horrible with the small text. Somebody passing by could mistake valet for drop off here. Side into my BMs says, "It's really bad design. I almost suspect the business is in on it. The sign is funny, but what you really want is a sign with huge checks like, we do not have a valet. Do not leave your car with anyone." Exactly. Edisana says, "Let me guess, stolen cars left and right." Probably. White trash idiot Wang says, "Worse, a guy parking cars for tips." I mean, as long as he's not stealing them. El Sanguindo says, "Insurance doesn't consider the car stolen if you willingly give the keys to someone." That doesn't sound right to me. Unionized Farm says, "Initially, this is true. But if they don't give the car back after a reasonable time frame, it becomes theft. You don't get to keep the rental car forever just because Enterprise initially gives you the keys." Exactly. Robin Baby says, "Yes, but you sign a contract with Enterprise agreeing to rent the car and bring it back in a required time. Handing your keys to a random person in the parking lot you think is valet is a bit different, considering there's no contract. It's a verbal contract that they're going to bring me my car back when I'm done doing what I'm doing." Illustrious claim. Oh, I guess we're not going to do that one. Never mind. Never mind. Next, we have expectation versus reality. It says, "Hey kids, we should go swimming when we get to the hotel. So they have a lovely swimming pool." See the lovely swimming pool at the hotel? It's lovely and big and nice and 3 feet deep. 3 feet deep. Is that 6 on the other side? 3 to 6 feet deep. It looks nice. It does not have a diving board. It has stairs on the um on the deep end. It has deep end stairs. Why does it have deep end stairs? There's handles over here. Is there a stair under there? I guess there might be. Okay. Well, what are we doing here? Oh my God. That's worse than I expected. Not gonna lie. There's no pool. There's no pool in the pool. Why do they keep saying they have a pool? Did they move it? Is it somewhere else? Caption is, "They better put that fence back up. Somebody might drown." Deadpool McDirty says, "What an appropriate name for this post. This would warrant a refund." 100%. The hazy fish is the second time right comment. She says, "I would want to leave the difference from the picture. I assume it's online, and what you arrived to. That's crazy." Uh, Pit Pipe says, "It looks like a crappy apartment complex where you go to buy drugs." Bluegrass Grazer says, "This is worse than the motel, and my name is Earl." Rashini says, "That picture looks like at least 5-year difference. Absolutely refund and put a review of the deceptive pictures. If they're lying about the pool, what else are they lying about? How often they change the sheets?" 100%. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Follow me on all my social medias that are down there somewhere. Um, Snapchat's the best one, in my opinion. So sign up for the friend me on Snapchat and then Snapchat me that you want to be added to the biddies list because I send out the notice to the biddies list every day right before I start. So you'll have a reminder. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell everybody you know. I can't think of another person to tell. This is our real estate section. It's entitled Modern, Well-Equipped Off-Grid Earthship on Almost 2 Acres. Has fruit-loaded interior greenhouse. That sounds cool. It's literally on Earthship Way. Why did I do that? That was dumb. I have you, so you're gonna have your own road. It is. Oh, here. Let me share it. I guess I need to share it, don't I? That was dumb. Okay. The houses mostly look the same. Pretty much the same. But you're gonna have that ground, what do you call it? Temperature control. It's got solar panels, so that's cool. So what is on there? I don't know. Could be lights, could be solar panels. I'm not sure. Well, that's nice. Approve. There's your bedroom. It needs closet doors. Do not make me live with a curtain, for Pete's sake. Why is the refrigerator out in the middle of the dining area? It's weird. Okay, I don't like it when they're skipping around like this. That's crazy. That's cool. I would put in a garden. I would take all that out and put in a garden, an indoor garden for vegetables. Solar panels. There's enough solar panels to run that house there easily. Propane tank is not a good sign. You should have electric everything. Your heater should be electric. Your heat should be electric. Electric everything. You don't need the propane for anything. It's near the Rio Grande Gorge, apparently. Oh shoot! I forgot to tell you. It's $529,000. 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. So it's pretty small. Are we already over? Here's your floor plan. This is the sunroom where you're gonna do your vegetable garden. Living room, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom. This is like living room, dining, kitchen's over here. I do not like this kitchen at all. That is a terrible triangle. Terrible, absolutely awful. What does this look like? So there's your bedroom. Just went out. What the heck? Okay. What else we got here? Oh, I forgot to do that. That's what we forgot to do. It is 1,850 square feet, built in 2021. It does not have 2 acres. It has 1.25 acres. 1.75 acres, sorry. Exceptional earthship in the greater world community. The meticulous maintained 2 bedroom, 1 bath off the grid home. It's not off the grid. It has a propane tank. You need grid for that. I got all the pictures on there for some reason. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 1 full bath. It's not big enough for my husband and I. It's not. This would be like a, a vacation house. Has a dryer, gas oven, gas range, gas water heater. No, you have solar heat. Why are you not using that? Refrigerator, solar hot water. Why do you have a gas water heater then? Water purifier and washer. Concrete and flagstone flooring. Insulated windows. No fireplace. Well, that's a bummer. Open parking. 1 level. This is not someplace you're going to live in. It's not realistic for that. A septic tank and cistern water. There's propane. Utilities for property says propane. Does not have propane. It has a tank. Energy generation off grid. Why do we have so much propane or gas stuff in this house when it could all be electric, run by the solar? Yes, you might need a battery. Oh my goodness, the tragedy of needing a battery. I'm not checking the taxes on this. Top rated comment is I made a Reddit account and says, now that is the way to do our ship. Very nice. Delicious Barber said it's not though. It requires gas and you don't want that. Like you have plenty of solar power there, obviously. You can always add more solar power too if you absolutely need it. You're not going to need it. That is a tiny house. That is a tiny house and only 2 or 3 people can live in it. Maybe 4, maybe. Delicious Barber answers, if I bought / could afford a house like this, I seriously want some training on how to manage it. Is that included? Subtle Shift says there are lots of people in the community of owners who are passionate about the choice to own and live in one. If whoever owns this didn't walk you through the maintenance, that community sure would and would. The gray water, WAMs, and solar systems are the main regular maintenance, from what I understand. And some even optimize those to be relatively hands-free to the greenhouse. Humidity can be an issue. There's always r/earthship. And then you have a sneak peek of r/earthship. Click top right comment. It's from what's this? Solar heat, I guess, probably. Or solar water. Solar hot water is a guess. Hot water, those are evacuated pipes. But I already have an evacuation too. Well, I don't. Groovy Smoothie says the Taos Earthship community is one of the coolest things in the States. Fully self-sustaining homes that can be completely off-grid if desired. Definitely take the tour if you pass through. And there's a documentary on YouTube. I will put it in the comments if you want to watch it. Doing it now, so I don't forget. Right below my email. Worship documentary. There you go. Save. My husband would love it. I better not tell him about it. Because he'd want to go buy it. Next we have Server Life, and it's entitled, if you're lurking on here and are not a server or interested in becoming a server, nay, even a restaurant owner, of any kind, please understand this is our digital break room. And this is from Server Life. And if you're rudely coming into our break room and telling us our business when you give your opinion on how to do a job, don't do. It's not your space to judge us and tell us we're bad at our jobs for venting. I had no idea how many non-servers were on here, just waiting to be smart with us till I posted. If you must lurk, then lurk, but I'd refrain from commenting, especially if it's to give us your 2 cents on a job you do not do. If you have achieved a state of enlightenment where you never need to vent to others to do a job which you work for, then good for you. The rest of us are human and have not ascended to the Buddha. Okay, this is a public forum, sir. Sorry. I actually don't answer any, I don't upvote, downvote, or anything on the posts that uh, that I cover on the show, ever. But this is a public forum, and you're not a mod. It does not say you're a mod. You're just a server. So shut up. Clea says, well, I'm going to need you to work through your break. We're busy, and Jesse called out. GCM said, winging Jesse always calls out. Very convenient. You happen to get sick the same day as that concert you've been dying to go to. Josh says, and when we call out, literally dying from the flu, we have to get our own replacement. But Jessie, no, she just gets a pass every damn time. Mr. Shatner Pants says, well, she's the owner's daughter, so of course she gets to do whatever she wants. Dinner Data says, I lurk because I want to learn how to be a more considerate customer. Somebody puts a meme up that says, the council will decide your fate. Someone says you may stay. Smart Talic says, I got out, but I'm here to support my brothers and sisters and still in much love. Yeah, but when you do something stupid, like, you should expect to be called out about it. Sorry, not sorry. Nearly everyone's up, like, yeah, I used to be a server. I'm not one anymore. Like Sue says, if you have time to post on Reddit, you have time to clean. Oh, it's so funny. People are so weird. Like, stop. It's not your job. It's not your job. You're a server. This is monitoring a Reddit thread. It's not your job. Next we have confession. It is entitled, I get paid to live and be friends with my roommate. That's nice. Sort of a situation when I was moving to a new city for college. I joined a Facebook group about finding roommates in the area. I don't have a lot of money and would be working to pay my own rent, so I wanted somewhere cheap. After two potential places fell through, I was losing hope. Then I got a message from my roommate's mom. She basically explained her kids struggled to make friends and keep roommates around. She was super desperate and offered to pay half my rent each month. All I had to do was live with her kid and be their friend. I was also super desperate to find someone where to live before the semester started, so I agreed. I've held up my end of the deal despite the fact that I absolutely hate my roommate. They are disgusting. They have no social awareness, completely helpless, super dramatic, and have an insanely messy social life, and generally just suck to live with it. I absolutely hate them, but I will get to live in a really nice apartment for pretty cheap. Despite being a nightmare roommate and a person, I do still feel bad for them. I know if they found out, they'd be devastated, so I never told anyone. The Unpolitical says, what do what you got to do and stay in school? We've all been there. Yeah. Dad Bod King says, yeah, chances are 50-50 OP finds an even worse roommate, but for higher rent. Second top rate comment is, new stable is what? Says, damn, I thought this was going to be like I found my best friend, but it really wasn't. I was hoping it was. I was hoping it would be positive and not negative, but it's still negative. Sort of Akasha says their mom threw money at the problem rather than teaching their kid hygiene and how to be courteous to others. It probably had been a pattern in their lives that prevented them from developing on their own. Yeah. Patient success says maybe some kids are just so different. I fully believe in nurture over nature in most cases, but sometimes you get a poorly behaved person for an environment that shouldn't have been created and leaves me questioning. Uh, Star Trek reference. It's possible to commit no mistake and still lose. It's not a weakness, that is life, Captain Picard. I still think that that's probably the parents' fault. Either the kid has autism or something, and they didn't catch it, or they just did a terrible job parenting their child. It happens. People do parenting wrong all the time. Next, we have mother-in-law's from hell and is entitled "My mother-in-law thought she was moving in with my husband's new house instead of me. Back in December of 2015, I met my now husband. Things moved pretty quickly, and by June 2016, he was buying his first house. At the time, I already owned my own trailer. Our plan was simple. He would move into the house he was buying together and rent out my place. Pretty normal, right? Yeah, that's pretty normal. I mean, 6 months doesn't seem like enough time to me, but that's okay. Apparently not to my mother-in-law. While my husband was house hunting, she became heavily invested in the process. At first, it seemed harmless. She'd send him listings and talk about the houses she liked. Then I started to notice a pattern. Instead of things like "This would be a great house," she'd text things like "This would be a good house for us." And by us, she definitely didn't mean me. The more houses he looked at, the more she talked as though she would be living there. She commented on bedrooms, location, storage space, and whether the layout would work for her needs. I honestly thought she was joking. She wasn't. The very bizarre part, she was married, she had her own husband and her own home. Yet somehow she had built up the idea that when her son bought a house, she would be moving in with him. Maybe she wanted to leave her husband. I mean, that happened. Maybe dad was not all that. But you still do not assume. Meanwhile, I was over there preparing to rent out the home I already owned so we could start our life together in his new house. Eventually, my husband had to have the conversation. Explain the plan was exactly what it had always been. He and I were moving into the house together, and my trailer would be rented off. Y'all, she had an absolute meltdown. Not disappointment, not hurt feelings, a full blown meltdown. There were tears, yelling, accusations, and enough guilt tripping to power a small city. She acted like I had come in and stolen something that belonged to her. She couldn't believe that her son was choosing to live with his girlfriend instead of her. Again, this woman was married and had her own home. I remember sitting there completely stunned because I didn't realize "Mom, you're not moving in with me" was a conversation that needed to happen with a grown adult. Apparently, she had already imagined herself living there and never considered that I would actually be the one moving in. In the end, my trailer got rented out. My husband and I moved into the house. His mother stayed exactly where she belonged, in her own home with her own husband. And that was the first real taste of my mother-in-law drama. Little did I know it was only the beginning. Oh, I bet. Cruiser says, "Spell the rest of the T, OP." And OP says, "I've had 10 years of it. It's coming." Quiet Celery said, "I would like to subscribe to your newsletter." Yes, exactly. Maybe we'll get another one. OP says, this was my first person. Love y'all are showing me is honestly making it easier to want to share my story with this crazy lady. Um, Unhappy Ad said, "What did her husband say?" Yeah, we all want to know the answer to that. Tabigale says, "If this is what kicked it off, you've got a movie in you, or at least a good book, a good memoir." Looming Disaster said, "Wow, was she thinking she'd just ditch her husband?" OP says, "I think she wanted to control my husband. Her oldest son is living at home, so she still had control over him. And my husband moved out at 17. No, we know why. So I think she saw this as an opportunity to contain control back over him. This is interesting at AF. It's a video. It's entitled "The Squad Was Checking a Suspicious Backpack, and this kid got fed up with waiting." Oh, Bomb Squad fed up. Not good.
Nobody except my clique. Yeah, I just spent a couple pins eating good on a dish. They don't say congratulations, but you know they watch that shit. I ain't even gonna get
Oh my.
I'm young, black and rich. She trying to sell me lies, bitch. I ain't buying shit.
Oh my. That was one big tackle there. Why are we tackling people? Lord Scotchy Scotch says the real bomb was that flying tackle. No kidding. Prevalent Xenon says maybe the real bomb is the friends we tackle along the way. See, Tia says this made me chuckle. Great work. Camp Flo says, answers, yeah, I woke up in a bad mood and that simple comment made me chuckle and briefly remove me from that. Oh, that's nice. I think I'll tackle this a day a little different now. Last comment started out as BS, and as I typed it, I realized maybe I will turn this day around. All of that from a single comment. I agree. Great work. And somebody says, wishing your day is much better than how you feel. And it's little kitty cats hugging each other. It's so sweet. Kitty cats. There's another GIF comment. Not doing that. Susby says, Jesus, what the hell was that at the end? Rack Chef says that's a tackle they should have done before he reached the backpack, but since they're hot-blooded dumbasses, they do it anyway, even though it's utterly useless now. Red Zeppelin said they waited because they wanted to make sure it was safe for them, but still got to get to tackle someone wild. Okay, Astronomer answers, and that's the thing, right? Presumably they tackled him because he was potentially handling an explosive. But once he emptied the bag and there clearly wasn't one, so they had no real reason to put him on the ground there. If you believe there was a bomb, he could set off. You tackle him as he's reaching for the bag. Of course, they didn't want to get blown up, which would be fair in a split-second decision. I'm not sure I'd get near the thing either, but I know I wouldn't tackle the guy afterwards. Beck Thumb Mono said, as a second take break comment, they say, you could have been seriously injured, so we injured you to make sure. Sarek says they weren't brave enough to go over there until there was no danger. It's only after the back flat, because there's clothes and stuff, dare they tackle it. They dare tackle him like they were going to stop him before that. It's crazy. There was literally no reason to do that. Just let him go. Mountain O'Neill says, I know they had to arrest him or whatever, but that tackle seemed more of spite and embarrassment than anything else. Narrow ad says, did you see the one with the lady with one arm texting and driving? Yes, I did. That was wild. They're so addicted to authority that they are never allowed to be wrong. Carrie says, hand to God, yes, other hand to God. Because she, if you were, I don't know where, she had only her left arm and she's driving with it. And the cop pulls her over for having and he says specifically, a phone in your right hand. And she says, this hand is just a nub. He says, yes, that hand. She's like, how? He's like, and they have a back and forth. She laughs at him, as she should. They go back and forth. And he says, well, you had a phone in one of your hands. She's like, yeah, but you said my right hand and I don't have a right hand, so I can't be. He says, so you're telling me you didn't have a phone in your hand? She says, no. He says, hand to God. So she looks over and up and goes, hand to God. He says, other hand. She looked, hand to God. It was great. She got off, by the way. Called a frat, said shit, what a hell of a sense of humor. You have to. You have to, or you get too mad. Blatant conservative says, I wish I could riff jokes that fast in normal conversations. There she was doing a whole comedy routine in front of a stressed out cop. Legend. uh, Gary answers again. She probably assumed the cop would realize his mistake and he didn't. I'm hoping she can sue for whatever is allowed. Logic Fish says she really handed him every out possible to just say, oops, my mistake, have a good day. But he felt emasculated by a woman saying he was wrong and he just doubled down. Exactly. Fuber Bizbaz says, not just saying he was not just saying he was wrong. She moment in the video when she laughs is what guaranteed the officer wasn't going to be admit a mistake. She was just being friendly, but it didn't matter. Guys like that can't handle women laughing when it resembles laughing at their expense. Yep, 100%. And somebody answered that and then removed their comment for some reason. That guy was crazy. That cop was insane. Like, no, we do not do that. Next we have Am I the A-hole and is entitled removed by moderator. Hold on, I'll go see what the title was. I still got that. I gotta make sure I have it right. Yeah, it's AITA for refusing to attend my childhood's best friend's destination wedding after they uninvited my wife. Oh no, that's not it. That was Monday's. Uh it's AITA for refusing to appear in an apology video. What did you need to apologize for, sir? A week ago, my neighbor, 16, unintentionally scratched my car with her bike. She immediately stopped, started crying, and called her mom for assistance. Scratch appeared worse than it actually was, and in store, it was simply polished away for a small amount. Since it was an accident, a very minor one, I didn't charge the girl or her mom. I mean, accidents happen. That was nice. When she apologized, I told her it was all right and advised her to be extra cautious next time, especially around cars. A few days later, her mother wrote that her daughter still feels a bit bad and wishes to offer a more sincere apology. I wrote that everything is good and I don't have problems with them. She said they would only deliver a cake as a small act of peace, and I agreed and thought, okay, that would be sweet. When they arrived, the girl was holding a cake box in her hand and mother had a phone. The girl had been muttering about taking responsibility and putting things right, but it appeared as though she wanted the earth to engulf her. Then her mom quietly said, now give him the cake and ask if he accepts your apology. I looked at her again and asked if this was being filmed. The mother said that she wanted to make a video as it serves an excellent illustration of how young people can take responsibility for their actions. Oh my goodness. So you're going to shame your daughter. So rude. Um, she said she could hide my face, but she needed to video me accepting an apology from her daughter. I took the cake and I told the girl that everything was okay between us and that I had already accepted her apology that day. Then I turned to her mom and I said, I don't want to be a part of the video. She started arguing with me and said I could have just let her finish her properly. But in the end, I just went home. Girl is upset with me now and doesn't want to even say hello when she sees me, and that's okay. She can feel whatever she wants to. For the sake of good relations, perhaps I could have waited 30 seconds, but I don't like how a simple apology was transformed into a scene. The girl seemed really uncomfortable. I was filmed without my permission, and I might have looked after it was published as someone who demands apologies from kids. Yeah, that's weird that it didn't come through. they not only deleted the Reddit filters for whatever the frick reason, deleted it, but they even deleted the bot that saves the comment. Flat replacement says so NTA is really creepy and bad parenting. Exactly. Flat replacement. There was a removed comment removed by the moderator, and flat replacement answers that when parents using children as prop for social media should be outlawed. And somebody said parents should be outlawed. No, that's silly. Stop it. The girl didn't even want to participate, or she would have been way more excited about it. She didn't want to do it. Why should he want to do it? And mom making her do it is rude, mean, not acceptable. NTA, girl no longer talks to me. Love it when problems solve themselves. Matt Howe says, yep, seems to me the mom was making sure she had settlement recorded and content. People suck. Yeah. Their typewriter comment is from Thick Rich. They say, NTA, this has absolutely nothing to do with the girl and her apology. The neighbor wants to do some performative parenting for social media. Yeah, exactly. Don't embarrass your children like that. Don't embarrass your neighbors like that. You're literally insane. Next is I Don't Work Here, Lady. It's entitled I Need More Towels. I'm Black from East Africa, and this is important to the story. Now, I'm having a vacation at one of the resorts. I'm at the pool, and the sun is doing me no favors. This white guy in his mid-50s who has been on his sunbed for a while starts calling me over. When I hear it, he's like, hey, you, Rafiki. I mean, come on, I'm not the monkey in the Lion King. Oh my goodness, really? That's insulting. Don't call people names don't call black people names that are monkey names. Like, what are you doing? So rude. Anyway, after a while, I turn around to see whom he was addressing. I find him peach red. I'm guessing from being ignored. And he immediately starts ordering me to fetch him more towels and to do a follow up on his fruit plate order. I'm guessing the shorts and shirt made him think I worked there, but the tone he used wasn't a tone a client seeking service would use. No, he's an a-hole and he thinks you're his slave. That's the kind of person he is. I mean, the audacity and sheer hubris of him. He didn't even wait for my response before turning away after composing myself. I told him I don't work here, and he looked at me as if I had spoken a foreign language. He asked me what I was doing there. I told him I was a guest, same as he was. Now the look of embarrassment on his face was hilarious. The woman beside him, I'm guessing the wife, suddenly found her book really interesting, and the guy said because of my shirt he thought I worked there. He returned to his seat suddenly, finding the clouds more interesting. At least he had enough sense to be embarrassed by himself. The one thing that annoyed me was the way he called and ordered around, even without any assuring if I was a worker there or not. Well, he just assumed. Flimsy Fortune said, was the color of your shirt that confused him? Sure. OP says, yeah, sure, let's just say that it was. Party Custard said, and to give you a name like that pretty much tells us what kind of person he is. Disgusting. Not to mention how he talks to workers. And what are you doing here? You're not supposed to have a vacation like him. Even if it is foreign exclusive, they're still going to beat people around. Next is top rated comment is from What the Frick. And she says, wanged up and very racist to call a black man a monkey, especially if he thought you were an employee, that's so classist, treat them like slaves. Yes, exactly. No, he called you a monkey. OP says, well, he didn't call me a monkey explicitly. He called me Rafiki. Now that was the name of the monkey in the Lion King animation. Oh, you poor sweet summer child. What the frick answers, babe, that's what it means. He wouldn't be calling you Rafiki for no reason. Plus, if his wife came and apologized, they both got flustered afterwards. It was definitely rudeness towards you. Opie says they've been called worse when traveling abroad. Oh my goodness. Oh, just because something else was worse doesn't mean they weren't like dis- disrespecting you. Portala says at times like this you should not let it go. They called you Rafiki, and that at that point you alert the staff of his racist comments, and you can make his vacation really, really memorable. Opie says I'll be sure to keep that in mind for next time. Universally Tired says, I'm a very white man in the US. I agree with this plan. Don't let ignorant people ruin your day, but don't let them get away with it either. I work at a hotel and have a translator on my phone just in case it's needed. Exactly. Someone else says report to the front desk that the racism is making you uncomfortable. BBB says, yeah, he was just a racist. Even if she was an employee there. If she was out and about and doing the things that people at resorts do and not actively working, it was still wrong to even expect her to get you anything. Him, I guess it was guy, to expect him to get you anything because he's not on duty. He's not on duty. He's not working. And don't call people racist names. That's ridiculous. So rude. And if you're an employee and somebody does that to you, report them also because they do not need to be there. They do not need to be there treating people like that. Because no matter what your role is, you should not be disrespected like that. You don't have to put up with racism, or you shouldn't have to. Next is from Overheard, and it is entitled Zoom Meeting. Overheard my girlfriend during a Zoom meeting with her coworkers. Neil, Giselle, we can't see your face. Giselle, thank you for bringing that to my attention, Neil. I disabled my video. Neil, why don't you want to show us your face, Giselle? Giselle, why do you want to see my face, Neil? Neil, we're all showing our faces except you. Giselle, I'm yawning, Neil. Neil, wow. Okay, whatever. First order of business. Can we please stop responding to urgent information in the work group with reaction GIFs. Let's keep all communication as professional as possible, please, people. Girlfriend, what about sending your pictures of your newborn in the work group? Neil, that's different though. Girlfriend, different how? Does sharing baby pictures in the work group fall under professional as possible or not as professional or not professional at all? Neil, all of you love the photos of my son. Girlfriend, and you love the reaction GIF I sent. Unknown worker, you also love my reaction GIF. Neil, okay, we can circle back to this topic if that's okay with everyone. Otherwise, we're gonna run out of time. Oh, I would like to know if the unknown worker is also female. Neil seems to have an issue. Neil seems to want to grow up. Valid Confusion says Giselle drama has been way too invested. Oh. Second or Tuscan gal answers, I would 100% watch a show with Giselle and Neil in it. Big Limit says, am I the only one thinking Giselle is being rude? She's being rude, but she probably has a reason for that. Love for Tidies says, yes, Giselle is over Neil's BS and isn't hiding it. Admiral Ad said, I imagine Aubrey Plaza playing the role of Giselle in a new Netflix comedy. Glycophosphate says, Neil sounds like a real pill. Well, I want to go out with drinks with Giselle and your girlfriend. Uh, Eclectic and varied says, sorry, mate, Giselle is typically a no-show. Only for Neil. Only if Neil's going. If Neil's not going, Giselle is fine. Okay, this is not safe for work. It involves death, so be warned. This is from Chew Off My Chest. Chew Off My Chest has been really depressing this week. My boyfriend is dead, his parents lied about for 2 wanging days. I'm allowing myself to talk about it fully here since I have no one to truly talk to anymore. My boyfriend is a trans man and he lives with his unsupported parents who resent the fact that he's trans. And for months now, he's been severely depressed, both because of his parents and because he's pregnant. We both didn't want the baby, but abortion is fully banned in our state, and his parents are also fully against it. Oh my goodness. See, this is what happens when you ban abortion. You lose an actual living person. We weren't allowed to see or talk to each other unless it was about the baby. I didn't get to say goodbye or tell him how much I loved him. I thought he was still alive and just discharged from the hospital because that's what his parents told me. But now they're telling me he's been dead for the last 2 days. I hate them so wanging much. I hate myself for not trying harder. I hate everything right now except for him. I bet you do. I'm so sorry it happened to you. Rosie Reed says, if you're the father of the baby, wouldn't you have legal rights to more information regarding the baby? Um, See, that's the tricky spot. These people want to force people to have babies, but then they don't want to live with the consequences of forcing people to be pregnant. My other name is Montoya. Says bigots don't care about the law. It seems just the idiot in chief. Just ask the idiot in chief. The Whatnot book also answers. Honestly, this kind of reads like they might have been children or at least very young adults. Probably don't know even how to navigate the legal side of the situation. Storm Tomcat says, I'm sorry for your loss. An internet hug from a stranger, if you want it. Beneficial Yam says, the parents have proven themselves to be an unreliable source, so make sure they could be lying. That's true. They could have sent him off somewhere. Squeeze It Girdle says, I'd be willing to bet they're lying and trying to break them up. Cheer too. Bell says, winging this right here. You say how awful they are, and it's obvious they would keep you from him if they 100% could. Well, this would be a way. Someone said something about faking obituaries. Free Spirit asks, how did he end up in the hospital? Toad Bellies Go Swish says, well, you see, when a trans man does not get support, gets pregnant without wanting to, and unable to escape this massive dysphoria situation, and is cut off from a source of happiness, may only see one way out of a sad situation. Good explanation. I love it. I don't love that it happened, but I love that explanation. I'm so sorry, OP. That is so hard. I cannot even imagine. Cannot even imagine. We had a lot of deleted posts today. I'm just saying. That was one. Here's another one. My girlfriend's family is planning to have me sleep on the floor. My girlfriend, 22, and I, 26, are going on a trip to New York in a few weeks with her family. She and her mom decided I should meet her grandparents. We've been together for 2.5 years, and while yes, I agree, it would be nice to meet them. Her parents told me that they will not allow us to sleep in the same room for their religious beliefs, and that I will be sleeping on the floor as the couch is a prized possession of their grandmother, and it will not be slept on. I'm getting a hotel room then. I'm getting a hotel room, and my girlfriend's staying with me in my hotel room. So chomp on that with your religious BS. We do not live together yet, but she is planning on moving in with me in August. We've worked hard my entire life, and I've built my own business and own my own house. Yet they treat me as if it was given to me. I feel judgment from her parents for the cars I own, the house I have, and the vacations to take her own. You better make sure that she's willing to give up this family because they sound awful. I did not have a say in this vacation to New York, but they made it very clear I'm not going to get a hotel and that I respect their wishes for staying in the house. I would say I'm getting a hotel or we're not going. In May, I took our full family on my boat to the Bahamas and we fished for an entire week. Took our parents, or siblings, or friends out to Walker's Cay and didn't ask for gas money, money for food, or anything. I didn't expect anything in return. All I wanted was for everyone to have a good time. You sound like a great guy. This girl is really lucky to have you in her life. This trip to New York for a week is a time constraint on my work, but I am doing so out of respect for my girlfriend. I said I would get a hotel if that is the accommodation. Otherwise, I will fly in, meet them, and fly out the same day or the next day. Am I overreacting for wanting a bare minimum of bed to sleep in? No, not at all. They're insane. You're going to be living together in August. You've been together 2.5 years. Do they really think you're not doing it? I mean, come on. Fine Barracuda says, bro, for real, sleeping on the floor like a effing dog. Have a little respect, stand your ground, or stay home. It doesn't matter who they are. If they treat you like this, you play along. It will always be like this. I wonder if the grandparents are not in on this. So sometimes the prudishness skips a generation. Generic username says, even dogs get a bed. Big Speaker says, my dog has multiple. A few are even elevated. I wouldn't go, not even for a day or two. Their house, their rules regarding sleeping together due to religious beliefs, but to tell you that you will sleep on the floor is not respectful at all. Actually, one of the family members, if somebody's going to sleep on the floor, it should be one of them. The parents can sleep on the floor. Politely decline and say you will meet them another time when you and your girlfriend stay at a hotel and visit New York together. And yeah, dogs have beds. No Needleworker says stay in a hotel. The arrangement is rude and ridiculous. Nervous Ogre says, I'm sorry the suggestion you sleep on the floor is so rude. I wouldn't even go. Better he stay home where he's appreciated and respected. What does your girlfriend say about this? Second cup of coffee says, get a hotel room. Yes. And have your girlfriend spend time there that decreases their time with her. She should be outraged at their plan on your behalf. Yes. 100%. Bride says, you're not overreacting. I'd be getting a hotel. Girlfriend can stay with her parents to still respect their wishes, but I would refuse to sleep on the floor. I'm curious what your girlfriend said about the sleeping situation. Next split says, if there was ever an opportunity to set clear boundaries about respecting one another, this is it. This is one thing for the parents to look down on him. It's completely different for the girlfriend to not speak up for him and book the hotel herself. He's acting like a hen walking into a fox den. What type of family is this? Spending like a big man is not going to make them accept or respect him. He has a girlfriend problem. He never answers any of them about what his girlfriend thinks. And he has deleted his account. So I don't even know who it was from. Oh, he hasn't. That's weird. Oh, here's the update. Hotel is booked and her mom. Hotel is booked and her mom and her and her mom had an argument over rude comments her mom made. Her brother has informed me that jealousy was brought up multiple times. Either way, back to the grindstone. Thank you for all your help. Oh, that's good. He deleted his own post, by the way. So I'm glad we got an update on that. Oh, when they were on the boat, they slept together with the parents in another room. There was talk about getting an air mattress. No, that's not cool either. I still wonder if the grandparents were in on that at all, or if that was just her parents being jerks. Next is what do I do? And is entitled My Mom Who Abused Me Is Now Acting Incredibly Sweet. Run. Run. That's what you should do. Uh, I'm not gonna bother with the text message because it doesn't look like much. So just a little backstory because there's too much to get into. My mom abused me physically when I was a child and early teenager, but stopped for the most part and switched to verbal abuse. I even called the cops one time when I was 12, and they put me in cuffs and threatened to take me to jail unless I apologized to my mom. I had kicked her since uh, I was on my back getting hit, so I never did that again. So you defended yourself, and the cops put you in handcuffs. That's ridiculous. She was really nice to me for a minute, and I went to live with her instead of my dad. However, she ended up emotionally abusing me and telling me she had the power to send me to the mental hospital whenever she wanted and threatening to call animal control on me to take my animals away. That's not how animal control works, nor is it how mental hospitals work. Ended up having a panic attack one night and asked my mom for a hug. She said no and shut her door closed. I ended up going to the hospital because of it, and my dad decided I was coming back home with him. Good dad. Green flags for dad. Dad's got it going on. So that's the basics. Now, after months of being incredibly cruel to me over text, then ignoring me is sending me sweet messages. Mind you, there's no apology. Um, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Last time I texted her, I told her to stop using Chat GPT to text me so I can see how she thinks we're on good terms. My mom is 50. She has struggled with health issues for years. I'm afraid if I continue to ignore her, I'll never get the chance to have my mom again. Dude, people keep telling me that she's family, and I get that, but she's also been so cruel to me. So do I give her another chance? What do I do? I wouldn't. Ask me how I feel about my mom dying. Don't care. Doesn't affect my life at all. Kethi says, as somebody who grew up with a physically and mentally abusive mom, do not trust this. Amen. I made the mistake of trusting my mother when she was older, almost 70. She seemed to have changed with her old age. She and my father had kept my sister's kid during summers, and there were no issues. Are you sure about that? No issues that you know of. My kids stayed with my parents while I worked. My husband had suddenly died, and he was a stay at home dad. My kids ended up being locked in a basement, physically and emotionally abused. My parents were never allowed to see my kids again. They were registered by social services as child abusers. This was over a decade ago. We have had zero contact. They are 80 this year. I occasionally check for an obituary to see if they're dead yet. That's not always a good way to do that. That's as much impact as they have on my life. Edit. My mother is also schizophrenic. My father enabled abuse and her chronic lying. OP says, I never thought about what she could do to my future children. Thank you for sharing your story. It's super helpful. Intelligent answered, she's never going to be the mom you want her to be. Yes, exactly. Alternative Mark says, this was a huge thing I had to learn and admit to myself in my 20s. No matter what I do, I will never impress her, make her proud. She will never be the mother I wanted her to be. I went no contact with her for years, and now in my 30s, with the acceptance of who and what she is in the back of my head. I've been able to have surface level contact with her again in a way that's healthy for me. It's a really difficult thing to balance, but this person's comment is something I still remind myself about my mom daily. It's heartbreaking. Pink Turtle Tickler is the second top rated comment. They said, imagine not liking me and I'm just sitting here drinking pickle juice straight out of the jar with absolutely no idea what's going on. Translation, I'm a manipulative, abusive narcissist of a parent that sees no problems with my actions. That must have been in the texts. Shadow Dragon says, the lack of self-awareness is almost a little amusing. Couldn't help but chuckle at the irony of that last pic she sent. Enjoy your pickle juice, lady. Oh, it was a outside laundry shot with a caption over it. CC Wanton says, this caught my eye as well, pretending not to know why you wouldn't respond to her / can turn it around is just a joke, feels manipulative. Manipulative. As I can't say manipulative, it's manipulative. Uh, the naughty printmaker is the third top rated comment, and they say, "Honey, when have you ever had a mom? From your story, it sounds like you only had an abuser and a bully. Family isn't a path to abuse. It sucks, I know. I've been there, but you have to love yourself enough to let go of the fantasy that someday she'll be a loving mother and protect yourself from dangerous abuser." Exactly. Exactly. Next, we have entitled parents, and it is not safe for work, so do whatever you need to do. It is entitled "My Mom and Her Boyfriend Ruined My Dad's Reputation and My Family Income for No Reason." So this story starts about a month or two ago when my parents filed for divorce. My mom thinks my dad is cheating. Dad thinks mom is cheating, which she actually was. Dad stayed loyal, blah, blah, blah. So mom's a cheater. Dad's being accused of it. Because mom is a cheater, she has to project her own sins onto somebody else. Sad, but nothing I did, but nothing I didn't think I couldn't handle. My mom leaves the house on and off until she finds a new place to live because my dad was kind enough to let her. Then she proceeds to steal from my dad multiple times. She's even somehow found her way into my dad's personal bank account and stole $200. She stole way more too, I don't know how much. Then a few weeks pass and enters Mr. Homewrecker himself over a video call, who thinks I'm my dad. We look similar, but I don't have a beard and we sound completely different. Mr. Homewrecker threatens to kill my dad. Yeah, not a great start to meeting this guy who I'm pretty sure is my mom's boyfriend. I argue with him about this and then go up to my room. Then summer starts and I think everything is going better until Mr. Homewrecker makes his triumphant return and accuses my dad of producing child porn. Yeah, you heard that right. And because of this, my dad got put on unpaid leave from his job, which was our main source of income outside disability checks. This is all my mom's fault, and she has the gall to act like she did nothing wrong. Wow. Lisa knows best says turn your mom in for false accusations if you can prove it. She may be your mom, but anyone that does something like that deserves to be punished accordingly. Exactly. Chuber is the second top rated comment, and he says, if real, your dad needs to talk to a lawyer yesterday. There are life ruining consequences to this guy making these accusations, and you need to be addressed before your dad suffers terribly. OP answers, that's what I'm going to do, but I don't know. He said he wants to settle everything civilly because lawyers cost money. No, he needs a lawyer. He needs a freaking lawyer now. And we don't have much of that. Also, the sad part is he still loves my mom, even after everything she does. At least he says he does. Not sure how much changed in the past 2 months. That's really sad. Battery Acid Smoothie says you should have contacted authorities when threatened to kill your dad. SARS Sam says, and for him to get a restraining order, paper trails goes a long way with issues like this. Exactly. Drazy is a fourth top rate comment. They say defamation and libel / slander is considered damages. If true, your father may be entitled to compensation. Speak with a lawyer. Why do you sound like an ad for a lawyer? Next, we have Oh No Consequences, entitled OOP rats the nurses out for sleeping on the job, then gets mad when he gets ratted out for doing the same. This is from Mildly Infuriating. New colleague reported me sleeping on my lunch break. Lost a whole shift with overtime as a result. I mean, on your lunch break, you're allowed to sleep, I would think. Hello, so and so. It was brought OP. Hello, OP. It was brought to my attention that you were sleeping on the floor in the radiology department. I'm aware that you were probably on your break. However, this is not the place to do so. So go ahead and take the night off so you're rested before your night shift. I mean, that's fair. So when like people are late to work because they overslept, it's not a constant thing. You're allowed to oversleep once in a while. It's fine. Reboot from the Start says, love person in the comments advising OP to find the breastfeeding room and nap there, as the working mothers want to deal with some random dude sleeping in their expressing room. Security Goose says, yeah, that's not going to work. I work in a hospital security and we caught one of our coworkers sleeping in the lactation / breastfeeding room overnight. He got canned an hour before the end of the shift, and I was his ride home that morning. That commenter was winging stupid. Dinosaur says, OOP is an idiot. Reddit urges him to do something that is now somehow even stupider. He says profit. The second topic comment is from Jang Rio, and they say, so let's see here. OOP thinks that no one gives a crap about people sleeping. As evidence, he references an incident where he woke up a sleeping nurse. Where is all this stuff coming from? Because all they put in was, I guess we're going to have to go to the actual thing. Oh, okay. Well, they didn't even put in the text. For context, I'm a full-time hospital security officer who works graveyard shifts, and I often sleep on my lunch break because I can't consume caffeine like a normal person. I cannot leave my site. I mean, just because you can't have caffeine doesn't mean you can't stay awake. There's an unused place in the old part of the hospital that has virtually no foot traffic from anyone other than fellow security personnel checking the emergency exit door nearby. I use it to rest in because it's more comfortable than the crappy break room we have. Recently, we've had a few new hires join the team. One of them saw me as I woke up to my alarm, and he advised me that I really shouldn't be sleeping there, telling me the client would probably report me if that was ever caught. They never did, even when a random client did discover me. Just kind of figured that he was just legitimately concerned for me, but too inexperienced to realize how little anyone really cares. I assured him that it was probably going to be all right and went back to my post. This morning, I received this text from my post commander telling me to take the night off. I had overtime lined up for me tonight. I'm going to miss it because that guy was so concerned that the client would report me that he reported me himself. I understand we have a no sleeping for any policy for any reason, but I think it's BS now that I'm being reported for crap. Literally everyone does. I've seen nurses sleeping in the waiting ICU med-surg waiting rooms, for Pete's sake. No one gave a crap about that when I called my supervisor. The nurse even chewed my ass off for waking them up, and they didn't care about that either. I mean, if he's on a break, they can't tell him not to sleep. He's not on the clock. They can't tell him what to do at all, ever, unless he's using a facility that he shouldn't be using. And he was sleeping on the floor in a place where nobody goes. Update. I've received communication that I'm suspended pending an investigation. Unfortunately, this means that it's highly likely I'll be terminated soon. I'd like to clear some things up about the situation. While I agree with you that the floor is a disgusting place to rest, I was not laying flat on the floor or anything like that. The carpet had been replaced / cleaned recently. I would prop my head and upper back on the wall, using my backpack as a cushion. The reason I was on the floor is because it's comfortable that way. So he was sitting up. He wasn't even laying down on the floor. As to why I reported the nurse, because it was part of my job, making sure people don't remain in the hospital past visiting hours when they are not permitted to. I didn't simply report the nurse to get them in trouble. I'd called my supervisor when I called someone sleeping in the waiting room, asking what I should do, and they told me to wake them. Before waking them, I checked nearby departments to see if they knew anyone who would be sleeping in the waiting room, family, staff, etc., and they did not know. I only found out the nurse was a nurse when I woke them up. I advised my supervisor about it to follow up. I asked if they wanted an incident report created for rule breaking activity, and they said it was unnecessary. Honestly, I'm quite taken aback at the pure negativity I've seen in the comments. People are calling me a snitch and saying that I think I'm the same as the nurse. I was just trying to do my job, and I was mildly infuriating that the rules didn't apply to everyone. I thought I could get some rest in the room despite the policy because of a long history of unenforcement, not because I thought I deserved it more than anyone else. Anyway, I hope you all are happy. My job is probably gone now. I won't be able to pay my rent or my car bill or get health insurance or my health care that I need for Crohn's disease. I might not be able to pay for the rest of my college that I just recently applied for to the fall. I'm really cooked like many of you wanted to be me to be enjoy. Okay, so that's the situation. So it wasn't even as bad as it seemed. OOP is refusing to grasp the situation that it's absolutely for the best for the nurses to get some sleep during downtime, as their jobs are important, and getting rest helps them perform better when they do have things to do. Why is there not a place for this? Most hospitals have a rest room, do they not? A room with a bed in it? I mean, you see it all the time on TV. OP is refusing to grasp that by the very nature of his job, he has to be awake for the entire thing, even downtime. No, he doesn't. Who says they're paid breaks? Also, you deserve a break. Uh, firing Nervin and says, "What's the nature of his job requires him not to sleep during his breaks?" That makes no sense to me. It doesn't to me either. Agitator says, "I don't think it's really no sleeping or it's a no sleeping in public rule." I mean, for example, it shows a nap in his car in the break room, not in a public space like radiology. I think the argument of I can't have caffeine, so I was napping on break would be fine. I like to apply the client rule. How would it look to the client if no one of their customers came up and said security is passed out on the floor in radiology? Which he wasn't. Stop exaggerating. Somebody else said they couldn't get help from their security guard because he was asleep. Well, was he on break? Don't they have coverage when they're on break? Just asking for a friend. Team Shadow Wind is the third top rated comment. Gee, I wonder why the security guard was reprimanded for sleeping and not the nurses who have significantly longer shifts and inherently more difficult job. It's not like the former requires you to be awake at all times or anything. And they say off. I don't know. I know people who have been caught sleeping on jobs when they shouldn't be, and they didn't get fired for a long time, when they should have been fired right away, in my opinion. Him sleeping on his break in a place that I think I hurt myself just sitting here. See, you can see the red mark here? That's just for me sitting here on my hand. And it hurts now, like it's bruised. I can't take me anywhere. All right, next is best of brother updates. Entitled, My Best Friend is Selling the Project Car We Built Together to Take His Girlfriend to Bali. It's registered in his name. Well, you probably shouldn't let him register it in his name. Original post, June 15th, 2026. I'm absolutely losing my mind right now. I just need to vent before I do something I permanently regret. For the past 8 months, my best friend and I have been building a project car in his garage. It started as a completely stripped, beat up chassis, and I'm the one with the mechanical knowledge, so I did 90% of the actual heavy lifting. Building the engine, sorting the wiring, installing the suspension and everything. On top of that, I funded about 80% of the parts because he was short on cash, but promised we'd split the profit 50-50 when we flipped it or just kept it as a track toy. Because it was his house, his garage, we registered the chassis in his name just to make the initial towing and paperwork easier. Huge mistake. Huge. The build is finally finished and it looks incredible. It sounds insane, and the performance is top tier. Yesterday, he calls me out of nowhere and tells me he has a buyer offered him a massive cash deal for it, and he accepted. I was hyped at first, thinking about our payout. And he drops the bomb. He's keeping the entire profit because he wants to take his girlfriend on a luxury vacation to Bali next month. He literally told me, well, it's hit my garage and my name's on the paper, so legally it's my car. I'll give you $500 for your trouble. Did you keep all your receipts? I hope you kept all of your receipts because you can take him to court. $500. I spent thousands on the turbo setup, the ECU, the electronic control unit, and hundreds of hours of manual labor. I literally have grease permanently stained under my fingernails from building his vacation fund. I don't even know what to do legally. I know I'm probably screwed because there's no written contract, just text messages. Those count in court. I feel completely betrayed by someone I considered a brother. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. If you have receipts and text messages stating the money was to be split, you can take him to small claims court. This doesn't require a lawyer or anything. It is usually pretty quick. If he doesn't show up, they rule in your favor. He's a terrible friend, and I hope after this all is said and done, you never speak to him again. OOP says, thank you for explaining small claims court doesn't need a lawyer. That actually makes me feel less overwhelmed. I definitely have the text where we talk about splitting the profits 50-50 when we finish the build. I'm going to start organizing all the receipts tonight. Yeah, after this, he's dead to me. Be thorough. Make a packet of all the receipts and communications with a table of contents to make it easy to peruse. Commenter 3. I would definitely let him know that you are planning to seek legal action. Before buying his tickets to Bali, you recommend he consults with an attorney because you'll owe you a lot more than he realizes. OOP says, oh, that's a brilliant point about warning him before he drops all that cash on tickets. I'm honestly terrified of the confrontation because he thinks he completely holds all the cards now. Maybe mentioning legal consultation will make him sweat a bit. Commenter 4. Commenter 2 was not in there, just so you know. A build like that should be documented with videos, Facebook posts, etc. If you spend money, get the receipts, sue him. That's real money and it should be taken care seriously. OP says I actually do have tons of videos and photos on my phone from when we were doing the engine swap. I paid for the Tobro kit on my card, so bank statements are there. But I can't actually sue. But can I actually sue someone if the car registration is entirely in his name? Yes, you can, because you have a contract with him. Maybe it's not written down contract, but you have it in text that you did a verbal contract. I'm so stressed out I don't even know how small claims court. Commenter 5. You absolutely can and have a strong case based on the evidence you have, especially if you can ensnare him with the text message, hey man, I want to get, I get you want to take your girl to Bali, but I spent way more on the car and rebuild and we agreed to split 50-50. Depending on what he says, he can absolutely skewer himself by confirming what you said, trying to apologize. Very crappy friend, but at least you'll get your money back. A lot of crappy friendships cost people a lot more and they get back a lot less. Oh, he says this is an incredibly smart move. I actually haven't replied to his text because I was too angry. So I'm going to word my next text exactly like this. If I can get him to text back and explicitly admit we agreed 50-50, that gives me actual leverage. Thank you so much. I'm literally typing it out to him now. Commenter 6. The parts are yours. He never paid for them. Tell him you either get a fair share or your parts back or you take them to court. Small claims is super easy, just paperwork in a local courthouse. In most states, you don't even need a lawyer, but it might help you if the value is high enough to justify. We had to take our wedding photographer to small claims, and it was magically resolved after she received a summons. OP says the thought of taking my parts back definitely crossed my mind, but the car is locked in his garage, and I don't want to catch breaking and entering charge on top of losing my money. Hearing your story about the wedding photographer magically fixing things after a summons gives me a lot of hope, though. I'm going to look at small claims paperwork first thing in the morning. Commenter 7. Small claims, then get a new friend. Also, I draft a bill for your hours and put it in at a fair standard rate to include in your claim. Drafting a bill for my labor hours is an incredible idea. If I count up every weekend and late night I spent rebuilding the top end and doing wiring even at basic rate, that easily totals thousands. Adding to the receipts for the parts should make the claim airtight. Thank you. June 16, 2026, next day. First of all, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented on my last post and to the people who flooded my chat requests. I've been reading through the messages silently, including some actual legal perspectives. But my inbox is a bit overwhelmed right now, and I couldn't really reply to everyone individually. I felt completely broken yesterday, but seeing so many people in my corner giving solid advice gave me a backbone to actually do something about this. A few of you suggested I could confront him aggressively, but instead text him calmly and try to get him to admit our 50-50 agreement in writing so I'd have evidence for small claims court. Well, it worked. Better than I could have imagined. Last night, I sent him a text. I kept my emotions completely out of it and wrote, hey, man, I'm trying to stay calm here. I know the registration is your name, but we spent 8 months building this together and explicitly agreed to split the profit 50-50, dropping $500 on me after I build the engine and fund the turbo setup. It's completely unfair. He took the bait immediately. He called me twice, but I let it go to voicemail because I wanted everything in text. Smart. Now you're thinking. When he realized I wasn't answering him back, he texted back, bro, plans change. I need the cash for the Bali trip with Jess. Yeah, we said 50-50 at the start, but legally it's my car. Be happy I'm even giving you 500 so you don't have to contract anyway, so you can't do anything. He literally admitted to the agreement while trying to flex that I couldn't stop him. Once I had that screenshot shaved and backed up, I sent my final reply. I have the receipts for every single aftermarket part, bank statements proving I bought them, and now I have your text admitting we agreed to the split 50-50 profit. I'm drafting an itemized bill for my labor hours at a standard shop rate. If you don't freeze this sale and give me my fair share, I'm filing a summons for small claims court first thing on Monday. See you there. Hasn't replied since, but his girlfriend just blocked me on Instagram, so I know he's absolutely panicking right now. I'm currently organizing all my receipts and printing out the text thread. I will keep you guys posted on whether he folds or if we are actually going to court, but for now, the trap is sprung. Relevant comments. Commenter 1, doing everything via text and ignoring Carlos' big brain move. Well done. OP says, thanks. I knew if I picked up the phone, it would just be a shouting match and I'd lose my leverage. Had to get it in writing. Commenter 2, great to see this update. It'll be heartbreaking enough to see all the hard work just disappear without enjoying the car first. Then throw in that he'd rather toss a friend away for a vacation. That sucks, man. Good luck with this process and fingers crossed it gets sorted soon. I guess at least you figured out what kind of person he is sooner. OOP, thanks. Honestly, the part that stings the most. We spent late nights, bleeding breaks, tracking down wiring gremlins and just talking about how insane it would sound when it finally boosted. To watch him toss all of that away just to flex on a vacation is wild to me. But you're right. Better to know who he really is now rather than later. Commenter 3, hey, just make sure you're super organized and prepared. It sounds like a slam dunk for you. And judges love it when somebody acts like they care about respecting the court's time. OOP, definitely. I'm currently printing out every single bank statement, receipt, and the exact text thread, so it's completely organized stack, not trying to waste any time. Commenter 4, now his girlfriend is mad at you because you didn't let her boyfriend steal the money from you. Maybe the idea to sell the car was hers. If he needs to sell a car to afford vacations, maybe it's not a good idea of going. OOP, honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if she's whispering in his ear about it. The fact that she blocked me on the second I threatened court speaks volumes. Commenter 5, you did good. I'm really sorry that you're having to deal with all of this and navigate the legal system right after losing a friend. OOP says, thank you, it's surreal. Trying to navigate the legal side of processing the betrayal is exhausting, but I have to protect myself. Commenter 6, very eager to learn how much exactly you spent parts and labor on this project and that your ex-friend is offering you $500 for. OOP, I'm still organizing the final stack as a receipt for Monday, but just this turbo setup in the ECU alone ran into thousands, plus hundreds of hours of heavy labor. $500 doesn't even cover a fraction of it. Final update, June 18th, 2026, 2 days later. Honestly, I didn't expect my life to become a multi-part drama series on Reddit, but after an insane amount of support on my last two posts, I owe you guys a final conclusion. To recap, I texted my best friend using advice here, trapped him into admitting our agreement on the project car build, and threatened him with small claims court and denied him his bill for my labor. Yesterday morning, the pressure finally broke him. I woke up to 5 missed calls from his dad. It turns out his dad saw the text thread on his phone, or my ex-friend cracked under pressure and confessed. I'm not entirely sure. His dad is a very hardworking, honest guy, and he was absolutely mortified by what his son was trying to do to me. An hour later, my ex-best friend called me. He sounded completely defeated, no more arrogant flexing, no more legally it's my car attitude. He apologized, although it sounded like his parents forced him to do it. Because of the text trap, he knew he was completely cornered. And instead of trying to fight it or sticking to that insulting $500 offer, he agreed that the 50-50 split wasn't fair since I funded almost everything. We settled on an 80-20 split in my favor to cover the turbo setup on all my parts receipts and the manual labor hours I put in. Wow. I met up at a local bank a few hours ago. I watched the cashier verify the cash for my 80% share, deposit it straight into my account, and walked out. His trip to Bali with Jess is still happening, but it's going to be a lot more budget friendly now that he isn't funding it with my hard work and parts. As we left the bank, he tried to ask if we were good, and I just looked at him and said, we're even on the car, but the friendship is done. Good luck in Bali. And I walked away and blocked his number. I lost a brother, which hurts, but kept my money, my dignity, my peace of mind. I genuinely could not have done this without the absolute legends in this subreddit who gave me the legal strategy and courage to stand up for myself. The money is safe in the bank and the toxic weight is out of my life, and this chapter is finally closed. Concluding comments from OOP. Looking back at everything, what's honestly so crazy is the contrast of human nature. While someone I called a brother for a decade was busy trying to screw me over, thousands of total strangers on the internet were stepping up to protect me for absolutely nothing in return. It's truly beautiful how people who don't even know my name are willing to give their time, legal advice, and genuine support just to help a stranger stand his ground. You guys showed me more loyalty in 24 hours than he did in 10 years. Thank you all, seriously. That's great. And I forgot green flags for OP's friend's dad. That guy's got it going on. You know that he did that. Opie's dad was like, "What the hell are you doing?" Ukulele says, "Are we good?" He said, as shown that best friend is delusional, and so does friendship for greed. Mr. Daimler answers, "I expected they are we all good in at the end based on the way the friend acted after being lambasted by his dad, but was still so satisfying to see OOP shut him down." Yeah, that was very, very satisfying, I have to admit. Fetish says, imagine throwing away your friendship and damaging your relationship with your parents because you want to go on a luxurious trip. Unicorn Sausage says, imagine throwing away a friendship with a mechanic in this economy. Mr. Deuce says, biggest regret in life has been not making friends with a mechanic. I have my mechanics. I have more than one. Temporary Owlet says, it's just crazy. Like having a trusted bro is so much better than a money or a trip. The friend is as stupid as can be. We'll leave that at that. Next is called Men in Love. Oh, I've seen this one before. It kind of makes me angry, to be honest. For 10 years, an elderly man listened to his late wife's voicemail every day. When it was accidentally deleted, 11 telecom engineers worked for 3 days to recover it. And I'll tell you why this makes me angry. I had a friend, no longer, unfortunately, for her, whose daughter was really young, but she got married to her boyfriend because her boyfriend had cancer and they wanted to be married before he passed away. She had voicemails from him and they got accidentally deleted, or she got a new phone or something and it didn't transfer over. And they told her there's literally nothing they could do about it. So obviously there was something they could have done about it, and they chose not to. So not all telecom workers are good. Vicious Cockery says the year my dad passed, he left me a voicemail on my birthday, which I must have listened to 100 times already. I have so many backup copies of it. Yes, exactly. Zealous Ideal Ad says, those 11 engineers are what humanity looks like if we are so much greater when we come together for each other rather than compete and ignore the suffering of others. Yes, exactly. And Gannon says, about a decade ago, I worked at Office Depot for a few roles from logistics to tech lead to manager. It was a regular occurrence that people would come in needing to recover data from corrupt Windows install or dying drive. I'll never forget this older couple came in 30 minutes from close begging to help save their photos of their dead daughter care accident from a computer that wasn't booting. It was a slower IDE drive, and it took a few hours to copy everything off. I closed the store and let them stay inside, very against policy, while I backed up the data. I would have sent them home and told them to come back the next morning, I think, because that's going to take a while. The woman cried, and I told her I was able to back everything up. They even returned the next day with a thank you card. Now I work in Intel, and I've always loved tech, but using my experience to help people, whether they're strangers, family, friends, or coworkers, has always been one of the best parts. I also like helping people when I can. It does give you a good feeling. Kazam says you dropped this king and gave him a crown. And on that very sad note, I have a picture of a very blue bird on my screen right now. Can I share it? I don't know. Hold on a second. Yeah, I can share it. Hold on just a second. So after that really sad thing, when I closed the last window on my other screen, this is what showed up. So that it's the full picture, it's not cut off. There you go. There you go. That's what shows up on my screen. He's very cute. He's very angry, but he's very cute. Oh. So that's all I got for today. I will be back on Wednesday next week because it's the end of the month, guys. It's the end of the month. Can you believe it? So I will be working extra to get the beginning of the month of the next month ready for you all. Yeah, it's the end of the month. We've been here a month. Crazy, I know. Insanity. So I will be back on Wednesday. I love you all. Have a good weekend. Have the best weekend. I'll see you in almost a week. Almost a week. Bye. Love you, biddies. Bye bye.